And we're back.
We're back, bumble bitches.
We're a little early, just a little bit. We are not doing anything, so we figured we'd go ahead and kick this thing off.
Yes.
So we're gonna bullshit with you guys for a little bit, so we can interact with the chat. We've got a giant TV here now instead of trying to navigate. We're working on things. It's gonna be a great day. Victoria said, "First time work is so slow I can watch a Wednesday live." Well, hell yeah, you picked a good one to watch because we're gonna be having a discussion piece today.
Doing a lot today.
Yeah. Always trying to win, but I don't believe in it anymore because I never feel like I'm done. You are never done. It doesn't mean you quit. Your videos have helped my relationship. I appreciate your videos. Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate you guys supporting us.
Can you hear me?
Say something?
Me? Hello?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I had my AirPod in my ear. So much going on with me this morning.
How much we counting down to the time till Thailand, guys? We are counting down like crazy. I actually had a nightmare about that last night.
Stop it.
I did. I had a dream that not everybody got all their payments in time and they canceled the trip. I'm having an anxiety about all of it because it's out of my control.
Okay, and it's manifesting in a subconscious way. We're not speaking that into the universe.
No, we're not. Because
Thailand's going to be fantastic.
I think that we're going to go one way or another. So
yes. We already have the time blotted out in our calendar. It's a lot to delete it.
I agree.
So it's just easier to make the trip.
I agree. Somebody said they love your black hair again.
Oh, thank you.
I'm actually fucking with it too.
Yeah?
Yep.
My hair was so damaged from the bleaching. I had a very real fear that if I bleached the roots, it would break off at the root.
Yeah.
The damage went all the way up to that. So
there was a lot of tears, a lot of broken hair and tears.
Yeah, I've cried for the last 3 months about my hair.
Yeah, it'll grow back out and just cut it as it goes.
I know, and hair treatments and all the things. It's just... That's why I suggested hair extensions for 200,000 followers.
We're almost there. I think we're at like 189 right now.
Really?
Yep. So we're getting pretty close. So today we are going to do a broad discussion about boundaries, and we're going to interact with the chat while we're doing it. I also have things that I want to discuss, possible emails and things of that nature. But when I say, we'll just kind of jump into this a little bit. But I would like you guys in the chat, first and foremost, to give me a scenario where you were uncomfortable telling your partner one of your boundaries. Just tell me what the boundary is. I don't need the whys or the hows. Just give us the, I don't like the boundary, or I'm uncomfortable saying my boundary in this scenario.
Do you want me to say mine?
Sure.
Not following provocative women on Instagram.
Why was that an insecurity for you or an issue?
An uncomfortable conversation because last time that I had that, not with you, but in a previous relationship, it was always beratings, you're insecure. This is why we have issues in our relationship. All of those other things.
Okay.
And with me having my borderline and having a hard time deciphering reality from somebody manipulating, without the tools of me being able to regulate and switch to logic thinking, it really messed with my mind a lot.
Okay. I wasn't prepared for that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's nothing to be sorry of. That's awesome. We're gonna go back to the chat in a second. So I'm really on some. Excuse me. I'm still dealing with the respiratory thing. I'm really on some shit where, like, let's take it to a real extreme, right? Like, one of my personal boundaries is I'm not going to allow somebody to talk down to you or put their hands on you. Right? That's an extreme boundary.
Okay.
You cross that boundary, there's going to be fucking consequences for it.
Yeah.
Now we can take it a whole lot further. Like, I don't want somebody coughing or sneezing over my food.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the end of the world? No, I'm just going to give the food back and just not eat it, right? Like, there's different consequences. Now, this comes down to me allowing things to exist in my sphere of the universe, right? So when you look at it as simple as that, the idea of setting boundaries comes down to trauma, fear, or an idea of X is going to happen if I do set the boundary.
Okay.
Now, the reason that I even brought all this up is because most of the time when we talk about boundaries in relationships, it always comes to control. So we're going to come back to that because I want to see some of the things that they're saying. Dan Cole said, I had to tell my husband that I didn't like his dog. The dog was too messy and noisy, and it messed with me so badly I couldn't handle him constantly in my space. It was a very difficult conversation. So in that situation, the fear is that he's probably not going to be very receptive because people love their dogs.
Yeah, like their own children.
Right. Joking about divorce, that's a big one.
Oh gosh, yeah. I got no problem telling people I know your child unruly, feral.
Yeah.
Shouldn't let your children hit you like that.
Tater Tot 820 said, how to keep a promise to myself of not talking to parents. I changed phone number and all. Okay. I mean, that's a boundary, but that's a boundary that you're setting that is solely on you to adhere and not having to worry about others disrespecting it. I've seen a lot of comments about my shirt. Defund politicians. This came from Relentless Defender. If you use code to be better, it'll save you 10 or 15%. I don't remember what the code is, but it'll save you money if you guys are into that. Not going to the bar without me or watching corn.
Yes.
That's a really big one. And we're going to get to that because this is that specific comment is exactly what sparked this entire thing for me.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Because when we had that conversation, shout out to Jessica Fox, new subscriber, found y'all on Facebook, and I fucking love y'all. We fucking love that you're here.
Thank you, Jessica.
We're trying to hit 200,000, guys. If we hit 200,000 by the end of the month, the next goal is 250 by the end of the year, and that was the original goal to begin with. So I'm fingers crossed for that.
Is that a dimple or do I have lipstick on my cheek?
It's a dimple when you smile. Yeah, I don't see lipstick on your cheek. So on that thing, when we made the first conversation, the first video, well, it was probably one of the first 5 videos that we ever made that went over 1 million views. We had a conversation on the podcast about boundaries and how I'm not willing to be with somebody in the courting phase. I laid it out. I wouldn't be with somebody who goes to the bar because I'm not about that life. I have goals and aspirations, blah, 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 blah. And I got fucking destroyed in the comments. You're controlling. This is narcissistic behavior. She should be able to do whatever she wants. How dare you leave her if she goes to the bar? They missed the courting conversation. They got very hung up on the I'm trying to control you because I won't let you go to the bar. And boundaries are not about controlling the other person.
Right.
Boundaries are about controlling the things that you can control and what you will and will not accept in your life.
Correct.
I'm not going to accept a bigot in my social circle. That's a boundary. That's not me trying to control bigots. You can be a bigot, but you're going to do that shit over there
And
because
we're not shaming you for it.
I have my set standard of what I'm willing to accept into my hemisphere.
Yeah.
And anything beyond that, that's a you choice.
Right.
You can be whoever you want to be, and I'm going to make a decision to control my existence. And when you look at it from that standpoint, it changes what a boundary is because it's not about control.
Right.
I know my self-worth. I also know that if I start going to the bar with you on the weekends, I'm going to become an alcoholic and I'm going to destroy my life.
Yeah.
It's not about me controlling you not going.
Right.
It's about I don't like the idea of other men getting drunk and trying to hit on you. And I know that when people become inebriated, your defenses come down a little bit. Does that mean that I don't trust you? No, it means that I don't trust the situation.
Right.
And I know that the stove might be hot. Therefore, I'm not going to touch the stove. You see how that works?
Right.
So when you look at it like that, it's not about control. And when people make it about control to try to shame somebody, that shame then infects your personal world and you start allowing things that you would otherwise not accept into your existence.
Right.
I made notes.
So two things came to my mind. First thing was you not wanting to be with somebody who goes to a bar regularly.
I'm going to use the term not tolerating.
Okay.
I think that's fair, and I don't think it's controlling.
Okay.
I wouldn't allow an addict, somebody that is addicted to fentanyl,
Right.
to be in my life. I don't care who they are. You are doing something that I vehemently disagree with. You can't be around me. That's tolerance. I'm not tolerating that. So in using that verbiage, it is accurate. And I don't think that we should tone that down because somebody's going to be like, oh, he won't tolerate it.
Right.
I think that that's an accurate statement.
No, you're right. I will look at the children and say, I'm not tolerating that behavior.
Correct.
That is not up to standard for the household, and you're aware of that.
That's it.
You're
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So when I was going to the bar, I would leave work and then go to the bar when I didn't have the children. And that was my life. I was not doing anything productive. I was not having hobbies. I was drinking until 2:00 in the morning, going home, sleeping, waking up, going to work, and then doing that.
You know, in all of the time that we've known each other, that's the only time I've lost sleep over our relationship.
Really?
Yep.
That one time, the few times I went to the bar.
Yep. Well, the one time that I had told you about it, like, because at that point the feelings were really there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is really starting to fuck with my mental health. Like, I felt the need to go to the bar to make sure that you were okay. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not that guy, right? Like,
Right.
I normally will set my standard and expect the people that are going to be in my life to adhere to those standards the same way that I would respectfully adhere to theirs. If I have a friend who's on the wagon and I decide I want to have a drink, I'm not going to be like, come on, bro, just have one.
Right.
Right? I'm the likelihood of me drinking with somebody that I know is on the wagon is very, very slim. I'm not on the wagon, but knowing that they're trying to quit drinking, I'm not going to be an influence like that.
Right.
You know, if we're going out to dinner and we're going to somebody that, or with somebody that are both vegetarians.
We have almost 600 people on Facebook.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you, Facebook, for being
Holy
here.
shit.
If I was going to go to dinner, if we were going to dinner with another couple and they were both vegetarian or vegan,
Right.
I'm not going to be like, let's go to a Brazilian steakhouse.
Yeah, where they only serve meat. Carnivore diet, guys. Let's go.
Right. My diet restrictions are not the same as yours. And if that's the way that you're choosing to eat, I can eat vegan or vegetarian food. It's still food to me.
Right.
I don't have the same restrictions. So I'm going to be respectful in that, knowing that in order for me to have quality time with our friends, this is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make for the sanctity of the relationship. Yeah?
Yeah. And then the second thought that I had, oh, fuck, what was it? I said the first thing because I didn't want to forget it. We talked about not tolerating behavior. Boundaries aren't controlling.
Spoke on what tolerance is.
Right.
Spoke on self-worth to a degree.
Oh, it's coming back to me. Hang on. It's back. Okay. So I distinctly remember one night being at the bar with coworkers. So these are people that I'm acquainted with. Some of them I'm closer with than others. Some of them we just have polite conversation and we talk about bullshit life stuff. And it was probably 1:00 in the morning. We were all standing outside in a group. We were all pretty inebriated playing cornhole. And one of the dudes that I worked with, who was well known to drink, started getting very close to me and trying to touch my face. And I took a step back. And he was like, I'm just trying, and he was drunk. I'm just trying to look and see. And he's like brushing my hair out of my face and I almost hit him. And two of the women that I worked with goes, no, he just does that when he drinks. Trying to excuse his behavior. Fucker, don't touch me.
And that's exactly what that is. I think you should be held accountable for your behavior when you're drinking. So my social circles when I was going to the bar a lot were very violent.
Yeah.
And there would be people who would get into fights and they'd be like, don't fight him, he's drunk. And be like, well, that's not my fucking problem.
He'll learn to not fight people when he's drunk after this.
Right. So there's definitely so okay, that touching you thing is a very specific boundary. And for you to be like, even while drinking, don't fucking touch me.
Yeah.
Speaks on your self-worth. Things that you are not going to allow in your life because you view that as crossing a line.
Right.
I don't see you trying to control that person by telling him, don't touch my face.
Right.
I want to touch on something real quick. Somebody said, and I had to highlight it. Let's see if I can find it. Chat's moving quick. Kayla Lowe Larson on Facebook said, to me, that's showing respect for your friends. And that's, if you don't have that respect for your person or the relationships that you've developed with the people that you care about, you shouldn't be trying to set boundaries with them anyways. You should just be getting them the fuck out of your life.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So I made a note and I had like a whole list of how I wanted to do this, but because we went live early, we just jumped into the conversation and I skipped it. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this and then we'll discuss.
Okay.
Excuse me. How many of you have had a hard time setting and maintaining boundaries? If this is you, press 1 in the chat so we can just fill this motherfucker up with ones.
What if it's with certain people?
It may not applies.
Okay. 1.
That's funny. There it goes. Yeah. All right. Now, how many of you do that because you fear being called controlling? Also 1 if yes, 2 if no on that one.
2.
No, it's not a fear of control.
It's not a fear of control.
See, and for me, it is.
Okay.
Every time I have ever set a boundary with somebody, I have been afraid that I was going to be viewed as controlling or trying to manipulate or whatever. Now, my question for that is your perspective different because you're a woman and I am not?
Yes.
Why?
Because my concern lies in the backlash. Not being viewed as controlling, but the backlash of it's just backlash. How dare you say that about me? You're wrong in saying that. Your perspective's wrong. You're crazy. You're delusional. You're insecure.
And those were all the things that would be considered controlling if a man is trying to tell a
Right.
woman that he won't accept those things. Okay. So that was relevant.
Okay.
Now, what if you change your perspective and instead of viewing it from the lens of they can't do X, you view it from they can do whatever they want, but I have the right to choose how I am going to allow people to treat me. Because now it's a perspective of you do you, but I have a set standard of expectations of how I'm going to allow people to treat me. This speaks to self-worth.
Okay.
When you change the perspective from I'm not trying to control you, I'm telling you that I'm not willing to accept that behavior, does it change it from control or does it become about your self-worth?
It becomes a choice for them.
Okay. Elaborate on that.
So the way that I would view that is this is my boundary and now you have the choice on whether or not you would like to adhere to it or walk away. I'm not saying that you have to or else. This is my boundary. And if you don't like it, you are not chained here. There is not going to be any repercussions if you walk away. The relationship will end and that will be it.
Now, do you feel that way about long-term relationships?
You mean like romantic relationships or just long-term relationships in general?
D, all of the above?
Okay. I view marriages differently than I view long-term friendships.
Okay. Elaborate on that.
So a marriage is husband and wife.
It's us.
Right.
One union.
Yes.
Okay. I agree.
And friendships, and I'm not negating the meaningfulness of them or the support derived from them or the nourishment and water you get from the person because of who they are. All of those things matter and they're valid.
Okay.
I view that as one level below the marriage, though.
Okay.
So they get treated as a level below my husband. My husband and I will try to work through things, something that I may not try to work through with a friend.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but I'm gonna compound on that. Do you think
Okay.
that friendships are a relationship based on a ebb and flow? There's an agreement there that you both value and you fill each other up in a way, right? Like it's an exchange.
Right.
So it is an exchange. Friendship is an exchange. It's not just one-sided. It shouldn't be one-sided. The exchange with marriage is that the marriage is the priority and we are exchanging to make sure that the marriage is the priority.
Right.
So is that where the difference is? Am I understanding that the way that you meant it, or did I just elaborate from my own cognitive bias?
Repeat it one more time for me.
I view friendships as transactional.
Okay. Well, I view marriage as transactional as well.
Okay.
In exchange.
Oh, wait,
okay.
because you're going to make me lose this. So friendships are transactional. I'm going to do for you. Ebb and flow.
Right.
I'm going to fill your cup.
You mean
on
in
bad
marriage
days,
or
you're going to fill
friendship?
my cup in friendship. In any
Okay.
relationship, this is the truth.
Okay.
When it comes to marriage, though, the marriage is one thing. I view that above you and I. So you and I
Yes.
have to have the transaction to make sure that the marriage stays as a unified front. Right?
Yes.
So God, obviously, we're going to skip
Right.
that. Marriage, us.
Yeah, I
Kids, friends, family, whatever.
view our marriage as like an ethereal being, this celestial fucking
That's fair.
thing.
That's fair. It has to be watered. It has to be fed.
Right,
It
has to be
nourished.
taken care of. And if it's neglected, it will die.
Yeah.
And if it dies, there will be massive repercussions
Okay.
long term. Because I do believe that our souls are intertwined in this. I know some people don't have that belief. Speaking from my perspective here, I feel really bad about my first marriage ending.
Yeah.
Like reflecting on that, I can understand that. I'm not going to get too deep into that. There was guilt with my first marriage ending. And I have a worry that it has stained my soul. And that's something that I'm going to have to atone for.
Is that religion?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a you thing then.
Yeah, I said my
Okay.
perspective.
Okay.
Just to elaborate a little bit more on that. So I agree with you that I view our marriage as above us, and then there's us.
Okay. But you do believe that all relationships are still transactional?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So backing up, because we went way off the rails, changing it from a point of control to a point of I'm not going to allow people to treat me this way, does that change your perspective on setting your boundaries?
I need you to repeat one more time. My back is killing me.
Changing the perspective from you can do whatever you want, I'm just not willing to allow that in my circle, right?
Right.
Does it change the idea of it being about control to it about you being self-worth? Does it change your perspective on wanting to set your boundaries is basically what I'm asking.
No, it doesn't change my perspective because I have always, like now with my elevated thought process or mindset, I do view it as keeping my peace. I have a garden that I have worked very hard to nourish and maintain. And it takes one bad poison to get in there and ruin that. The health of my garden matters more than enabling your toxic behaviors.
Right.
So I agree. I don't view that as controlling.
Okay. So do you think that enabling toxic behaviors is somehow negating your self-worth in those things?
Enabling toxic behaviors, negating your self-worth?
Yeah. So you're touching on, we didn't talk about this. I was like, I want to talk about boundaries today.
Right.
And I made notes and we're doing that. So a lot of the things that she's touching on, we're going to hit. But you enabling toxic behavior from somebody, for the person that has somebody who has a really toxic parent and they allow the parent to be in their lives because, well, that's my mom or that's my dad.
Right.
You are enabling that behavior and you are destroying your self-peace by doing that. Do you think that enabling that behavior speaks on your self-worth? Because, hear me out.
Okay.
If somebody that I loved and cared about put their hands on you, I'm going to knock them the fuck out. We're going to have conflict. If somebody that I love and care about starts to disrespect you, we are going to have conflict because I value this and I view that as my self-worth. If somebody was like, those pants look stupid on you, you're not wearing the pants, get fucked, right? Like, it doesn't matter. But when it comes to what I'm willing to tolerate, it does at some point speak to self-worth, because if I don't value the relationship and I don't value myself and I allow people to disrespect me by disrespecting you, that does speak to my self-worth. At some point, I don't feel like I'm worthy enough to step up and go, hey, I deserve better than this.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. It depends on the boundary being crossed. I think at a certain point, it does start playing into self-worth.
Okay. I agree with the boundary being crossed because I went very extreme to very not.
I think there are certain boundaries that people will be lenient on because they have pity, and it's more about the other person.
Whoa, why pity?
Why are you confused?
Because I didn't see it that way, and now I need to understand. So why is that a pity thing?
Okay, so for an example, there was a boundary that I had with somebody that you're not going to talk to me this way. And I was very lenient on that boundary because, oh, they're depressed and they're going through it.
Okay. So,
oh, they're having a hard day. I should just let that slide this time.
So that's where the pity was. You felt bad for them.
Yeah.
So on those, though, because it is the way that they're speaking to you, even though they felt this way, this falls onto, well, they were drunk. At what point do you put your self-worth second to the pity? Or
Damn, you're right.
Right? So that's where I'm getting at with that.
Okay, I need a minute now.
Because at some point you have to go, I love me.
Right.
And I love my life, and I'm not going to let my life be disrupted by shit that I vehemently disagree with. And talking to me with a mutual respect matters. Holy shit, that's a huge fucking message.
I know, that caught my eye.
That's almost our entire TV.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on while you think about that.
I want to come back to that. Can you highlight it or something?
You want to just read it?
Yeah. So it said, Peaches, I could use your advice. My girlfriend and I got together 7 months ago, and she has been pregnant for almost 5 months, and we also live together Her home life was very controlled. She couldn't go anywhere without asking for permission, and she had to take care of kids that weren't hers on a daily basis, so she ended up moving in with me. But since she's moved in, I've noticed that she doesn't know how to do anything. Okay, so I'm going to pause. That makes sense. If she came from a home of neglect and abuse, their top priorities were not teaching the children how to be humans. It was conflict and survival mode.
Okay. Well, that speaks to helicopter parenting.
Right. So that makes sense. Continuing on. I've had to teach her how to clean the house, take care of herself like showering and regular body care, and I'm constantly having to remind her of the things she has to do, and I have to fight with her to even get her out of bed every morning.
That sounds like depression.
Yeah. She doesn't even know how to drive yet. I've been teaching her for 2 months now, and she's still not any better. I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like I'm just being taken advantage of, and I'm worried that she isn't going to be able to take care of our child once they are born. What is your advice? Because I don't know. So the first thing that came to my mind, person who typed that out, there's absolutely nothing you can do now. She is pregnant. For people who are listening and just listen to that situation, let that be a reminder to use a condom. Because you are now tied to this woman. This is why the courting phase is so important. This is why it's important to get to know people beyond just seeing them for a few hours a week. In regards to helping her, I would plan out conversations that are from a place of concern and not a place of, I don't know how you're phrasing any of these conversations with her. But I would have conversations from a place of a concern versus, I can't believe you don't know how to do this. What?
Nothing. Keep talking.
So if some conversations I would have, one would be a topic of, I'm concerned if there's a doctor's appointment the baby needs to get to and I'm at work and you can't drive. I'm concerned if there's an emergency and you need to leave the house, you don't know how to drive. Those are very scary things to a man who's supposed to be the protector of his family. You pushing her to do these things is not out of judgment or shame. It is out of
necessity.
Well, necessity, but she doesn't want to hear necessity. I would tell her that this is from a place of the woman I am loving is going fucking through it. And I don't know what she was like when you first got together. I had to make sure the pipe was hidden. Because I saw someone talking about my Mountain Dew. Y'all, yeah. I'm on a Mountain Dew kick right now. I don't know what it is.
Diet Mountain Dew.
This is regular Mountain Dew.
Is it? Oh, man.
I am taking the full calories for this full-fledged Mountain Dew. Rotting my teeth with it. But it's hitting that spot in my brain. A little dopamine release. Better than gambling.
Is it better than winning at Call of Duty?
No.
Okay, just checking.
Oh my gosh, that kick when I get 3 kills in a row and I haven't died yet. Whew. It's from a place of concern of, I am trying to be the man of the household, and part of being the man of the household is making sure my woman is taken care of, and that's what I'm trying to do. It does sound like depression. The first thing to go for both my husband and I when we are depressed is hygiene and for me, maintaining the household. If I'm not making the bed every morning, I'm in a really, really dark place. I would start watching videos on YouTube about how to handle women who are pregnant. Start looking into postpartum, start looking into hormones, start looking at how to be a supportive father, how to be a supportive partner.
Isn't there a prepartum depression? What was the other one called?
There's prenatal depression, then there's postpartum depression, and then there's postnatal depression for the father that can be experienced by proxy. So I've never had Mountain Dew. Keep it that way. Don't drink it. It's fantastic, but people use it to clean shit too. I shouldn't be drinking this, but I am. That's my advice.
I want to elaborate on this.
Okay, take it to you for a minute.
This is, for me, this is the idea that Because they do sound young. And if they
do.
are young, she moved out of being taken care of to being taken care of and has never had to fend for themselves. This is why when your kids are under the age of 10, they should start learning how to cook.
Yes.
They should start getting chores and start learning how to manage money. Here's a great tip for the almost 1,000 people that are currently watching across all the platforms. If you have young kids, go get fake money or even change and then teach them the value of the money for doing the chores that they're doing, and then have movie nights or stores where you can, this is what we did with the kids. We spent less than $40 on Amazon and bought like 18 or 20 toys. And we gave the kids money for chores. If they put their laundry in the basket and then into the washer, we gave them coins. And we gave them little paper dollars so that they understood that different chores gave them different value. Then at the end of the week, we put it all out on the table and was like, all right, here's the prices for these toys. Which one would you like to buy with a little bit of money that you have? And obviously it wasn't dollar for dollar, but they were able to figure out like how much money they had and how much they needed to buy things. And they were able to work on negotiating between the two of them to buy the bigger toys when they, had the money to put together. But it taught them the value of doing work. And it explained to them, like, if you want things in life, you have to do them, because at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save you. So and from that perspective of knowing that parents aren't doing enough with their kids, we know that studies have shown that parents spend less than 45 minutes a day with their children on things that's not homework, bath time, bedtime stories, etc.
And that absolutely disgusts me, because I cuddle with the kids for 45 minutes a day.
Yeah. So knowing that there are parents out there who are not teaching children the things that they need, it's easier for me to just do it for you, give you the tablet and send you on your way than it is for me to show you how to do it for yourself. You are creating people who are unskilled and unable to think for themselves.
Yeah.
This is too hard to do this, right? Instead of going, okay, how do I make this work for myself?
Yeah.
And that speaks into like life shit. Now, if this young lady, assuming she is young, I'm guessing she's probably 17, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Is now living with a man who is also actually trying to teach her. She doesn't have the wherewithal because she is pregnant. There could be depression there. I believe there is, because she's not willing to get up in the morning.
Right. And then think about the life that she's had.
Right. She's also got a life in her now. So
Yeah.
energy levels and hormones is a whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's all speculative because we have no fucking idea.
Right.
So for anybody that's speaking indefinite saying she is this, you have no fucking idea what's actually going on.
Right.
We had a little blurb. We're all speculating. All of us. You guys.
Every
us.
single one.
Okay. He is now in a position where he is going to have to teach this woman how to be a functioning adult, how to get a driver's license, how to learn to drive, and all of that shit, how to manage her finances, because parents failed, school system failed, and they're about to have a kid. So he's in a position now where he has to do all of that shit while still running a life,
Yes.
because it sounds like he's the provider of everything in the home.
Yeah.
This is why, as parents, we have to make sure that we are engaging with our kids. And that's where my brain went with all of this, because my brain instantly went to her parents failed her ass. Like,
100%. Yeah. I would also keep in mind that she's probably stunted mentally. And when she gets emotional, she probably recedes back to a very young age if she went through the abuse or whatever that we talked about. So I would keep in mind, you're not speaking to an 18, 19, 20-year-old. You could be speaking to a 10-year-old who's hurt.
yeah.
And she's lashing out in the moment because what you just said reminded of the way that her father spoke to her super shittily. Yeah.
And it's also something to consider too, if there is actual childhood trauma there, like true trauma, people become stunted at that. There's a whole lot of what ifs. This is why we tell people to send emails.
Yeah.
Because when you send an email, it can be very, very detailed. And if you guys are both working together and you really know that you have issues, send an email from each perspective. This isn't about shitting on you. This isn't about you not doing enough. This is about us trying to fix our relationship. We don't have the tools to do it. Somebody else might. So let's sit down, write this email together. You write your perspective. I'll write my perspective. We can read it. If some of it's offensive to you and you want to change the verbiage, we can do that. But then we can send it off and we can have a discussion about it. And I think that's more beneficial than
I agree.
speculating. Real quick, back to this. I asked you if that changed your feelings on it, because it is okay for you to not like something. That should be normalized. But I have set standards for the people that I have in my life, as I am trying to live a peaceful and meaningful existence. I then wrote, my feelings matter. This is where the respect comes in that the person mentioned in the comment. If you don't have the respect for your person, like you had said earlier, your fear was having the discussion about following thirst traps on social media. That was a really easy conversation for us. I don't like that. Cool, I ain't doing that then. Like,
Yeah.
it's not filling my cup. You are. Right. So, and that's another conversation, because if I needed to go to social media to get that attention, to feel like I'm looking at something, there's a disconnect, which actions, right?
Right.
I wrote, my feelings matter. The environment I will continue to grow in has to be one that waters me, that gives me the nutrients and the light that I need to flourish. And you went to the omnipresent being, and it all tied right back in.
I love that. Same.
So after we've had this conversation, how many of you have a new perspective on the boundary setting? And now that we've had this conversation, if you have questions about how you would set a boundary, or holy fuck, there's another one. Guys, send the emails for these really long drawn out things. Please just send emails to bebetterco@gmail.com. Can you go back to Peach's boundary? She stated right at the beginning about following. I literally just did that. Oh, you know what? I bet there's a delay.
Probably a delay.
Chrissy Leopold, did that answer your question? Do you want us to elaborate on that? I'm looking for you to comment again.
Does this work?
The email is tobebetterco@gmail.com.
Okay.
Alexa Brown for the win. Thank you for putting that in the chat. While we wait on that to come through, Madison said she still struggles with boundaries. Why? JD said, how do you know if you are arguing because you are not compatible or just because of emotional maturity and regulation issues? I feel like compatibility is something you can't work on, but the latter is. I disagree to an extent. What about you?
Working on compatibility?
Yes.
It depends.
To an extent?
To an extent,
Okay.
yeah. I think there are some things that people are dead set in.
Non-negotiables.
Right, and will not waver on. And if those are the compatibilities we're talking about, I don't think that can be worked on.
Right. Because it's a non-negotiable for you.
Right, yeah.
Right. So, and that this could speak to a maturity level too, because like they said, if it's emotional maturity, you might be very vehemently against something just simply because you don't understand it. And if you're not willing to have the conversation about it, then that's it. You're just not going to be compatible. Now, if you are vehemently against something that you don't understand and it's explained to you in a way that you do understand it and it changes your thought process a little bit, then deeper conversations can be had. And I believe that that can correct that. So I do agree to an extent. I think that people are not destined to be together.
I agree.
I think that you have to make that shit work. And if you are constantly fucking arguing with somebody and you are not able to come to resolution,
It ain't the one.
right, then it's not it. You got to come to resolution, not in conflict.
Yes.
Because if you're screaming and yelling at each other, resolution's not going to happen. Resolution,
Right.
If you are a screamer and a yeller, and that's your mode of operation when you're screaming and yelling, you're communicating with your person, the resolution to conflict that comes afterwards normally happens from guilt or having to take a step back and process what's being said.
Right.
Knowing that that's the case, you can avoid the guilt by taking a second to process what's being said and then listening. And I'll give an example for that. And then I'm going to move the chat down because I feel like I answered this and there's tons of messages going through here.
Okie dokie.
An example of that is, and this is a fucking huge narcissist thing. This is gaslighting. This is something that we see a lot. If somebody says you did X, Y, Z, and I go, no, I didn't. I could be gaslighting you. I could not actually remember saying that.
Right.
So if I'm like, no, I didn't, but I'm sorry you feel that way, that feels really shitty, right? Like hearing somebody say that, be like, damn, just fucking dismissed everything. However, if you were to say something like, I don't remember saying that, and it sounds like it upset you, and I'm sorry that I wasn't tentative in the moment, what can I do to correct the problem? That's a very different conversation. And it's acknowledging that I don't remember saying that shit, so I am actually sorry for not remembering. And if I said it and it made you feel that way, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. I'm not sorry that I said what I said in the moment because I don't remember saying it. So I'm not going to apologize for something that I don't remember. But if it made you feel bad, or if it made you feel like I don't care about you, or it makes you feel like whatever, that's what we need to talk about. Because the feeling that you're going through and me being able to validate that in the moment changes that whole process.
Right.
And that's how you come to resolution in the moment instead of making conflict out of it. Because in the moment where you're like, I didn't say that shit, you're making that up or whatever. And you and I are, we're notorious for that's not what I said.
Right.
Because we hear emotion and take what we take and feel the way we feel. And then we have to be like, That's what I heard you say.
Right.
Well, that's not what I said, but that's what I heard. And that's how I took it. So
Right.
explain it to me in a way that I can understand it. And as soon as we stop going, well, you said, no, I didn't. Yes, I did. No, and we do that,
Yeah.
everything de-escalates and it becomes a normal conversation because I'm now out of my feelings. You're not out of your feelings. And we're trying to problem solve. And now we're logic brain thinking and not emotional brain thinking.
Yeah.
So that also speaks on the emotional maturity.
I saw somebody ask in the chat, how do you guys feel about exes you have children with? And I'm not going to answer that question because that's such a surface level statement. I don't have an opinion to that because why are you asking that? Are you looking for co-parenting advice? Are you trying to shit talk somebody?
I would like more in depth on that.
Right.
I have a lot of opinions
Yeah.
on the single mom thing and the co-parenting thing. And I am an opinionated fucker when it comes to that.
Right.
So I have a ton of opinions. I just need to know which ones you want.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So let's peel back the surface layer, right? We're Shrek. We're going to bite into the onion and we're going to see what's underneath that.
Do you have or know any resources for being successfully married to a narcissist? It's possible. Is it possible? It is possible. We're not experts, guys. We're not therapists. We're not counselors. We're not anybody that works in the medical field. We are just people who have life experience and we like to share the shit. However, recover your power on TikTok. She's recover_power, but with a period after each letter. She's been on our podcast. She is a true narcissistic abuse survivor. And that is her entire shtick, is trying to help people heal from narcissism. If you are with somebody that is truly narcissistic and they want to improve, they need to do things that have empathy so that they can learn compassion for other people, and it pulls away some of that selfishness. However, if you're just saying that your person's a narcissist, everyone's
mean.
everyone's a narcissist.
Yeah.
To a degree. So
It's like everything is manipulation. Now, the intent behind the manipulation is what matters.
yeah, I agree with that too. I also think that when you call it manipulation, telling your dog to sit and it's sitting and giving it a treat is manipulating the dog.
Right.
You're teaching it you're training it, and you're doing it through manipulation
Getting super stoked when a baby takes their first walks
and cheering.
is manipulation because you want the baby to keep doing it.
Absolutely. And when you look at it for what it actually is, it matters.
Right. Yep.
Where do you go to be a paid subscriber? Patreon.
Patron.
All of our everything that
The
we
Muffin Man.
everything that we do, where we would like you guys to subscribe. You can subscribe to our YouTube lives. You can subscribe through YouTube. You can do it through Instagram and TikTok. Patreon, the Patreon community is where it's at. To get like limited live streams on YouTube, it's the same cost to be on Patreon.
Yes.
At
And you get so much more.
The $15 tier, we do a lot for Patreon. That's
much more.
our main community. So if you guys would like to support us financially in any way, Patreon, that's the way to go. Corrective criticism is far more different than narcissism. I agree with that.
Yes.
We saw something the other day that said, love doesn't criticize. And I strongly, vehemently disagree with that. If I am doing something that you think is hurtful to me and you give me constructive criticism, you are criticizing me, but you're doing it from a place of love. And when you realize that criticism is love and criticism without love is cruelty, it's a
Yes.
very different standard.
Yep. Yep.
Carla said, co-parenting. I never had a chance to co-parent with my child's father, because we don't say baby daddy or baby mom around here.
Yes.
Because my ex was charged with abusing many children, so judges wouldn't allow it. My son's dad was narcissistic, and I still try to care, but after everything he did, I can't love the same. He is still my son's father. I still care, but since my ex, I have a hard time getting in relationships. I make too many boundaries. No, you set expectations
Right.
for the quality of person that you're going to be with. This is exactly what I was getting into. There is nothing wrong with what you just said. You have a very set, call it a standard. I have a standard of the quality of person that I want in my life.
Yes.
If you do not meet the standard that I have set,
Or
you
don't agree.
can't be in my life.
Yes.
That's gangster, Carla. You're doing exactly what the fuck you need to be doing. Find somebody that meets that standard and then pour into them and hope that they're willing to do the same to you. And that's how you get a relationship like this. Would you agree with that?
Yes. I concur.
Protect your peace. Put some gratitude in your attitude. I can't wait to make that shirt.
Yeah.
Yep. I have an off-topic question. I am an emotional person. So is Peaches.
Oh gosh, all the time.
So I tend to cry a lot. So does Peaches.
All the time.
No matter what emotion I'm feeling. So does Peaches.
Yes.
My boyfriend does not know how to react or respond, and he tends to get frustrated with the situation. How can I help the situation? You explain to him. You show him Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer.
Or you show him the To Be Better podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Bert
Don't we have a compilation of me crying?
There is a video floating around of you just crying over and over and over again.
Yeah.
If you can't get him to watch our podcast, have him watch a Bert Kreischer stand up. Bert Kreischer will be telling a joke and he'll be standing there crying. The problem is men are used to women emotionally abusing them with tears. And when you understand that somebody that you were with is just an emotional person, it's very different than you being wrong. And now you're using tears to make me feel bad, to manipulate the conversation so that I stop making my point or telling you that you're wrong or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. And that is a very real thing for a lot of people. If you and I are doing something and you look at me and start crying and I understand that you're emotionally happy and that's how you conduct yourself.
Yeah.
I don't get upset with you when we're upset or we're having a disagreement and you're getting emotional. I understand that that is how you operate. It's not manipulation at that point. And if it is, then you manipulate me all the time because you'll look at me and start crying and be like, I love you. And I'm like, damn, I'm loved. You manipulated it, right? Like,
right.
I just don't see it that way.
Yeah, no, I think keeping up a facade after all of these years would become difficult.
I think so too.
With especially crying the way that I cry. Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah said, I've never been much of a crier, but I met a man who makes me feel so safe that I cry so much more now. I love that. Lorna said, I'm stuck on a train. Why are you on a train? God, the chat moves so fast.
Yeah, I got tired of seeing things, so I took my glasses off, and now everything's just kind of fuzzy.
You just let me do it now?
Yeah, I'm just letting you do it. I'm coasting.
This one's from Sunshine Stephanie on Facebook. How do you create a true relationship in a family where mom's schedule makes get the default parent? It doesn't read right. Mom's schedules makes her the default parent and dad a weekend parent. Mom feels resentment because every weekend is yelling since dad feels mom is too lenient during the week. Mom reminds about chores and such. Doesn't react to every snippy comment. Dad demands respect. Dad sees no issues with his moral code. Respect is earned, not given, first and foremost. You should honor your parents, but I wouldn't respect somebody who's abusing me. So respect is earned. On this situation, it sounds like mom and dad needs to get on the same page of what is and what is not acceptable behavior in terms of parenting. And these are conversations that you have before you get pregnant.
Yes.
So in this situation, my answer would be mom and dad need to have a conversation about what they're going to do in terms of parenting. They need to write it out, and then they need to make sure that babysitters and grandma and aunts and uncles and cousins and everyone who's around the children all adhere to the same thing. And if you're not willing to adhere to the boundary that we have set as parents, you have to fucking beat feet. You can't be around our kids.
Correct. A question that came to my mind is, are you too lenient?
That's a good question.
Are the children whining? Do they throw fits when they get told no? Is there disgruntled throwing on the floor and kicking? And
We ain't doing that.
Right, we ain't doing that. So what does too lenient look like? Because reminding about chores is, okay, well, do they get it done, or are you asking 10 times?
Right. Somebody asked about the shirts. We are at a position right now where we are setting up Printify and a few other things.
Patron.
New patron. Love that.
Patron.
Did we 2 of them?
2 of them.
Dope. We are setting up our website. We're creating a whole lot of things going that route right now. And as soon as our website is completely live, because I mean, it's already up, but the new website is live, all of our new shirt designs will be there. And a lot of old ones. Love is Not Enough is coming back. My Husband's Got Me is coming back. Choose Your Heart is coming back. Put Some Gratitude in Your Attitude will be on there.
Yes.
The Proud Father shirts will be back on there.
Wife in Waiting is going to be on there.
Wife in Waiting. I would rather carry the weight of your tears on my shoulder than your eulogy or than your coffin, I think is the way that was worded. We're going to absolutely be doing all of that. But we're waiting until the website is proper before we start trying to roll out shit. we already have a bunch of backstock shirts that we may end up giving them away at this point
Yeah.
because they've been sitting. But
Yep.
I also would like to start carrying shirts with us when we travel. So like,
Can we t-shirt cannon them at people?
I have a t-shirt cannon.
Back up 50 yards.
I have a t-shirt cannon. I
Yeah.
shot Kyle in the throat with one.
I know. I remember
Okay,
seeing
yeah.
that video. I thought he died.
Yeah, I actually did too. I think that we should like throw a backpack or like a small suitcase in the van when we travel so that when people recognize us, we can ask them what size shirt they wear and we can just randomly give them shirts because we have a fairly large backstock sitting in there currently, especially like the his home and her piece shirts.
Right.
Or, her home, his piece.
Her home, his piece.
Yeah.
His piece, her home. His piece,
Whatever.
her home. Yeah, that's the one. That's it.
Co-parenting situation, no tantrums, no outright disrespect, just like, hey, it's 10 a.m. Did you do your chores before watching TV? Dad yells. Mom says, shut it off and do chores. It sounds to me like dad doesn't know how to emotionally regulate, and he
I
is
agree.
used to yelling to get shit done. Now, is he dad voicing or is he screaming? Because there's a difference.
Yes, there is definitely a difference.
I would also like to point out that if I was in a crowd of people and I discharged a weapon, I'm going to get everybody's attention.
Oh, damn
Because
right.
of the sound. If I'm in a group of people and my kid's not listening and I dad voice, I'm going to get their fucking attention as well as everyone's around me because
Yeah.
I've just elevated my existence.
Right.
They do that in the military. You get screamed at by your drill sergeants. Anytime somebody goes from a calm conversation to elevated, even a little bit, everyone pays attention. And if you think I'm wrong, get a little bit loud in a restaurant.
Can you scroll up a little bit? Am I wrong for correcting my child for calling another person mom? I'm dealing with CPS and the aide there told me not to correct her and I was ready to smack the fuck out of her. So your response was to physically attack your child when she did something that upset you.
She meant the woman.
Oh, the woman. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that because I was aghast. Okay, so
New patron.
how old is the child?
I call another woman that's not my biological mom. Mother is a title that's fucking earned.
Right.
Just because you have a baby doesn't make you a mother.
Correct.
It means that you pushed a watermelon out of your vagina. Like
Yeah.
a father is that's an earned title.
Yes.
I don't know.
She's 4. This is one of those delicate situations. I don't know why the child is with CPS. I don't know why she's calling another person mother. I would send an email. There's far too much speculation that I can make on that.
I agree.
Far too much speculation.
Excuse me. Jen said, "How do you deal with partners not liking children's father? My ex and I co-parent well and get along well. Our relationship has been over for years on years. I'm so stuck at this point because my son is my life, but I love my partner so much also, but the drama is too much and leads to arguments 24/7. Is your partner your husband or is this your boyfriend? Because that matters."
And what are the arguments about?
Right. The idea, you don't have to like people.
Right.
You need to be civil. That other person is the child's father.
Right.
You can absolutely fucking despise him as a human being and believe he's a complete waste of DNA.
Right.
But you need to be civil because there's a child involved and this woman once had a life with that man and you're now stepping into that role.
This was your choice.
Right.
Yep.
We really need to do a conversation piece where we sit down and talk about single mothers in the dating game.
Okay.
I'm so much to talk about on that.
Me too.
I'm going to get to all the super chats that you guys are sending on Facebook when we're done. I don't want to start reading and fuck shit up. The arguments are about my ex. He thinks I want to be with him again. He's my boyfriend. Well, if you wanted to be with your ex, you would be.
Oh, he needs to get over that.
This idea that you are going to somehow control your person to not be with the people they want to be with is insane to me.
Right.
When you accept that people are going to do what they want to do and you have no fucking control over that, it changes the way that you conduct yourself. Because I know that if you wanted to do something, there's nothing that I could do short of like chaining you to a pipe, like a concrete pole,
Right.
to prevent you from doing it.
Puts the lotion on the skin.
But what I'm going to do is go, okay, she has a freedom of choice. I need to be the best fucking version of me to make sure that she's not looking outside of that. Now, if I'm constantly bringing drama to your door, what is the likelihood of you going, yep, that's the one I want to be with forever because I love the drama that he's constantly bringing to my door, versus if I'm understanding and being civil and not creating waves and making sure that our home is a sanctuary.
Yep.
Christina said, my therapist told me that people will do what they want no matter what you do. That's right. And that's the difference between realizing that people do what makes them happy or what they view as best for them versus doing what they do to you. It's never about you. It's about them. And when you understand that, it changes things.
Yep. Not the center of the universe.
I only found one man who could really handle it. I don't know what he's really handling, but I know a lot of men who can handle co-parenting. I know a lot of men who handle co-parenting perfectly well. I also think that you guys misunderstand the difference between a male and a man, or a boy and a man. I will live and die on that hill.
Every time I yawn, my jaw unhinges like a snake. And I have to pop it back in before I close my mouth, or my teeth are misaligned and it fucks me up.
I'm not going to make a sexual comment. I'm sorry that happens to you. I'm not going to make a sexual comment. I am thinking it, though. I am thinking it. I'm glad that your teeth are in alignment.
Keep up that energy, though, babe.
Yeah.
I like that. Oopsie doodles.
I don't know what we were doing. That just threw off everything.
I wanted to add on to it and walk past you in my Jinkos again.
Yeah. It's not the Jinkos. It's the combination of the shirt you're wearing with the Jinkos and me being able to see your stomach. It fucking does it for me.
Gotcha.
Sancho said, I've really been loving your guys' content. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
We appreciate the support. All right, here we go. My husband started seeing other women about a year ago, and he told me he wanted a divorce. The last year has been hell for me. Now he is saying he's working on himself and has some clarity, but still needs some time to work on himself. He said what he should have done, he should have asked for a year ago, was a break, not a divorce. Should I continue to be patient and allow him to come back when he's ready? Are you saying that is he saying that he should have asked for a break so that he could fuck other people? Or he is asking for a break so that he can find out how to problem solve what's going on in the relationship so that you guys can work through it? Because taking a break for somebody to just go do something is giving them a pass to just go do it.
Right.
Taking a break to work through your problems. Hey, we're not living together very well right now, and we're gonna remain monogamous, and we're gonna start going to therapy. But while we're doing that, I'm gonna live in a hotel because I don't want to have extracurricular fights. Maybe I did something that hurt you. Maybe you did something that hurt me. And every conversation is a war zone. I can understand that separation,
right?
But I would rather just go sleep on the couch and just minimize conversation until we work through what's going on.
Yeah,
I think that's to an extreme.
Yeah, I'm in the mindset that you can be mad at me while you're sitting here holding my feet. Like,
absolutely.
And I'm going to sit here being mad at you while I'm cooking you dinner and asking you if you need anything.
There's an emotional maturity that comes into that.
Yeah.
You have to really set your ego aside and your hurt aside to be decent to your person while you're hurting.
Right.
So many people it's eye for an eye mentality. People just want people to hurt like they're hurting. So they say mean shit or they throw things or they get abusive and they distance themselves and they pull their love away instead of going, I still love you. I'm just hurt right now. It matters.
With the mindset that I have now, I would not let him come back.
He's saying that he's going to see other people and he wants me to as well. We aren't working on us at all. He's supposedly working on himself. It's gone. Oh, while he's doing his own thing.
Get the divorce.
Yeah.
Move on. That is not a husband. That's a fuckboy. I would not tolerate that behavior. With the mindset that I have now, I could have done something to really make you mad and you need 3 days of space from me. And I get it. We're not going to have any funny moments. We're not going to be we would probably ride the Harley together somewhere. But it's not going to be to the level of lovey-dovey because we're licking wounds right now.
Right.
I get that. We're still going to watch our show at 8 o'clock. You're still going to be home by 6 o'clock for dinner. We are going to maintain the baseline of our marriage because when we're not upset with each other 98% of the time, when we're not having a disruption, everything is fantastic.
Yeah.
Why forfeit that for a 0.005% disruption?
I agree. Did you feel me hold your hip and butt last night at like 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, I did. You rolled over. It made me feel really good. It put me back to sleep.
I have not been able to hold you for the last week because every time I lay on my left side, my hand goes numb and my tricep cramps from the nerve pinch in my neck. And I realized last night that I haven't been able to hold you, and like I started dwelling on it in my sleep, and that's what that was.
Really?
Yeah. But the reason I bring that up is because our routine has shifted.
Yeah.
Because it used to be you would lay on me until I woke you up and rolled you over, and then we would roll over and I'd spoon you, and we'd fall asleep that way. Well, we'd fall asleep with you on me until I couldn't breathe, and then we would.
Yeah.
But I noticed the change in our routine because of it.
Yeah.
Because of my nerve, and I don't know. I felt the need to address it because you just brought up the shift. But
Yeah.
switch sides of the bed, not a fucking chance. Husband needs to be as close to the door as possible in case something comes through.
Are you kidding me? There are times where the children wake me up when they're at the door because I can feel their presence.
Yeah.
And then there's times where I am out cold. Like, I don't do this, but maybe I downed 2 bottles of NyQuil and then took 10 melatonin.
You mean the feeling that you're sleeping?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I'm sleeping. And one night our son woke us up. I thought he was a demon.
Yeah.
Oh, standing there, pale as shit
Right
in the darkness.
in front of your face.
Oh, yeah. Whispering at me.
Yeah. That's funny. Newbie here. Do y'all give advice based on life experience, or are you certified in any way? It's life experience. We are autodidacts.
Autodidacts.
The idea that you have to get a degree to be able to speak on something is not.
Yeah.
It's just not the case. There's so many people that are doing things in life. Like, I never learned how to cook by going to school, but I can feed myself.
Right.
You learn by making mistakes.
Yes.
And you improve.
The information is also free.
It is. We're also not claiming to ever be anything other than two people just having conversations.
Yeah. I have thought about going and getting a degree in psychology, but I feel like a lot in our life will have to settle. Like, we'll have to delegate a lot.
Yeah. There's also a lot of time that would have to go into that. I looked into counseling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually don't think that would do us any good. And we had a couple people that are part of institutions that do coaching.
Yeah.
Reach out and was like, you can get a coaching course in under 2 years. And I'm like,
2 years is a long time.
I have failed a lot in life.
Yeah.
And I am where I am because of those failures. I don't need you to tell me how to do what I've already done. So, and all of the books that I'm reading and all of the things that I'm learning, I'm doing it on my own.
Yeah.
Because it resonates with me.
Right.
Somebody in the chat a minute ago asked if emotional maturity is something that just comes over time or if it's something that can be hurried. I think emotional maturity comes when people stop enabling your bullshit.
Yes.
When you realize that you are the problem and you have to take accountability for your life, you have to change your actions. When you realize that you are the common denominator in everything in your existence, it all boils down to you. And if you want change, you have to be the one to change it.
Yep.
I think that's what speeds the process.
Yep.
I'm going to go to your camera. I have to void my bladder.
Oh, crap. Okay. When you get back, I'm going to do the same thing.
All right.
I was just thinking, oh, gosh, now it's me. Hi. Hello. It's me. There's a song I've been listening to, and now I have to reach out to one of the mashup people. What is it? She's So High by Tal Bachman. And there's a song that I anticipate, I think like after the first chorus, but it's not it. I have to send it somebody. Oh, Amanda, I love that. Thank you for sharing. I see a bee in the back. Yeah, that's my bumblebee. My husband gave it to me. Do you guys want to see it? It's very fluffy. I'm going to go grab my bumblebee. Oh, we're going to go this way. Yeah, a little fuzzy bee butt. Yeah, pollen. On the leg.
What are you doing?
I showed them the bee.
Oh, did you tell them the story behind it?
No, I didn't. I just showed them the bee. Oh, I'm going to go to use the restroom now.
All right. We need to get a like break screen.
Yes.
Is the goose here? The goose is here, Danish.
Yes, dressed as a bee.
Yep. We so that bee, we were at the Naples Botanical Garden, and we were walking through the gift shop, and the bee was there, and I was like, I said something super fucking cheesy, and she's like, "Oh my god, I love it," and I was like, "Now we have to buy the bee so that you have this memory forever." But we are going to end up doing a couple of emails now that we've been bullshitting this entire time and having the conversations that we've had. It looks like we've got about 800 people watching between all the platforms. Could you please write down the report card? I'll do you one better. Go to tobebetter.co, click on downloads, and just download the PDF that's already created. There's also a video on there that explains how to do the check-ins, and we're updating it. We have the two wizards in the Discord, and Peaches and I are working on new questions that can be added to it, and we are going to redo the video so the video is actually updated as well. And then somebody else asked about book recommendations. There's also a recommended reading list on the website, tobebetter.co. All this shit's free. We have a book list, the check-ins for adults, the check-ins for kids, and then the courting questionnaire for those of you who are in the dating game. It might be resources, not downloads. I don't know what they're doing with the website right now, so it's one or the other. It'll say resources or downloads. What is your Discord? Our Discord is through Patreon only. So you'd have to be a member of our Patreon on the $15 tier, or be a member on YouTube at the $15 tier, but stop it, woman. Or if you do it at the YouTube on the $15 tier, you get access to one chat in our Patreon, but not the Discord, but not the entire thing. tobebetter.co is the website, or www.tobebetter.com, but there's a disconnect and emails don't work properly if I changed it. So it is under resources. Okay, so she's updating the website. That's dope. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days. How do you do the check-ins? Interested to start trying. The video's on our website. It's a 45-minute video. There's a whole lot of information there, but the gist of it is you download the PDF, you sit down and you have a conversation about it. It's about, you're basically asking your person for a report card on things that's going on in your life. We use the check-ins every week, even with our kids. I love that. I love that. Should a wife point out a husband's emotional outburst or ignore? Not in the moment, but don't ignore either. Understand that people are emotionally unregulated, and until they learn how to regulate themselves, things like that are going to happen. So if you correct that in the moment, you're making a you statement. You fucking did da 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 da. Well, they're already emotional.
Right.
They're not going to be receptive to that. After the fact, if you say something along the lines of, I realized that you were really worked up earlier, and I'm sorry that we let it get to that point. I feel like our relationship is in danger when you do that, or whatever it is that you're feeling. I'm just trying to make up a scenario, and I got nothing, but when you make it about the way that you're feeling, and it's not a you statement, don't say, I feel like you always, because then you've negated it. But when you make that conversation, I feel unsafe when emotions are high, and we need to work on reining that back. What can I do to like help you with that? It changes the conversation quite a bit. So
I agree.
Let's see what we've got for emails. Pretty slick, isn't it?
Yeah, that was pretty smart.
This is how I did the Voice of the Broken yesterday when I recorded episode 11.
Look at that.
Yeah. Peaches, what is something that still surprises you about your husband? Yes, Peaches, what still surprises you about me?
What still surprises me about my husband?
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but...
Okay, well, let me think about it. Things that still surprise me about you. Your capability to be tender with the children even when you're upset.
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah. And it's not like a shock, like, oh my God, I can't believe that. Oh God, I never thought he would do this. It's just knowing what you've come from and seeing that. It's
right.
Warming.
So when there's childhood trauma involved, like I've experienced, and when you've got things like that, it's very hard to dial that back.
Yeah.
And not repeat the patterns of the past.
Right.
And sometimes I need to process what just happened, take a breath, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Your goofiness, your new levels of goofiness. I can tell that you're becoming more comfortable with yourself.
Yeah. My that's a whole podcast.
Yeah.
That's a whole podcast. That's a whole fucking episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, life has changed a lot because of you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
What else surprises me about my husband? Every time I see him naked, it's just a wonderful
All
surprise.
right. Okay, let's do an email because this is going to turn into debauchery.
It's an honest answer. All right. How you and the Discord helped me grow with 2 updates. Hi, you two. I'm a fairly new fan of you guys. I started listening to your guys' podcast just earlier this month. First off, thank you. I've learned a lot from your guys' TikToks. Then I got into your Spotify podcasts because TikTok is blocked on my work Wi-Fi. Good. I'm still in the early episodes, episode 9, but I've already learned so much. I've taken notes on the check-ins. I've written out my own guidelines and expectations.
I love that.
Me too. I've written out my own guidelines and expectations. Oh, I've already read that.
Yep.
For my next relationship. And you guys, Peach especially, have taught me to accept the fact that I'm a very soft female despite my tattooed and muscular body shape. And that I would love to have a partner who can play that protection role in my life. Girl, get it. You guys... Your guys' podcast has helped me heal from my first divorce faster than any breakup I've experienced. Please keep doing what you're doing. I'm sorry if there is already an episode about this topic, but this is something I've wanted to reach out about now as it has become a topic that has come up a lot. I know it's something that is holding me back in the relationship I plan on to pursue. So, wizard note, this does said edited
paragraph.
Edited. It's a lot of D's. Paragraph. For many years of my life, with different people, I've experienced a lot of trauma related to sex. I am sorry. I've reported one of these situations to the police, and the system that was supposed to help me traumatized me more than the situation itself. I was interrogated by several detectives, and I was forced to say my story multiple times a week for almost 2 months straight. This has caused me to become insanely uncomfortable with the topic of sex.
You want to touch on that?
And this is why I'm calling the good old boys before I call the cops.
This is why the false accusations need to stop.
Yeah.
Because the more those kind of things happen and things are escalated that aren't actually assault,
it's harder to see the ones who are telling the truth.
It hurts the people who are actually hurt.
Yes, and it's women hurting women in doing this.
Yeah. Do you guys sell tall shirts? On occasion.
On occasion. You know what I was thinking about the other day? I promise this is going somewhere. So I was in the shower and you had just left the house and the kids were in their rooms cleaning and I was getting ready for the day. And I was like, man, if somebody broke in right now, all I have... so I have the the shampoo with the push nozzle. I would use that and jam it into somebody's eye or throat. Right?
What the fuck?
Because I have to think of ways to defend myself.
You realize I lock the door when I leave the house, right?
Right, but that's not going to stop somebody who really wants to get in. It's just a safety thing for me. So I plan out ways just in case. And then I realize, well, of course I would call the cops, but I would 100% call my husband first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the answer.
Yeah.
And luckily in another month you won't have to worry about that because you'll have Ivy.
Right.
You'll just light her up and let her go.
Yeah.
Let's get back to this.
Okay. You don't do that?
No.
No?
I don't worry about my safety like you do.
I'm really weak.
You are also very traumatized.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of fears of your safety and being grabbed and snatched and trafficked. And I don't have any of those fears.
Yeah.
I very rarely fear for my safety.
That's crazy to me. Absolutely wild to me. When I stop to pump gas, I put my pew-pew on me.
Yeah, you should.
And I stand there with it. Yeah.
You should also lock your car doors when you get out of it.
Yeah. Wild.
You should also, before putting the nozzle back into the pump,
look around.
Look around.
I do.
Take an assessment of your situation. Don't be playing on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be watching the fucking numbers on the tank. I click the gas thing, take my hand off of it, and I assess my surroundings the entire time it's pumping.
Yeah.
And when it clicks, I unclick the nozzle, look around, then take the pump out, close the door. I assess my vehicle, fucking just checking my environment before actually getting in my vehicle. But I also lock my door when I'm in by myself. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about people doing that. It's just ingrained behavior because
Safety.
yeah. So with my current partner, in quotation marks right now, because I was going through divorce and he doesn't want us to be official until the government officially declares me single.
Okay, what?
I was picking up where you left off.
I had no idea what you were doing. Okay. Do you want to continue reading?
I can. I know that he is the partner that benefits heavily from reassurance. He tends to ask questions like, how did I do? Did you like it when I did that? Is there anything you would like for me to do next time? And the other questions along those lines. He's not even asking me in an inappropriate way. He's honestly asking in the most respectful way 90% of the time. The other 10% is him using more vulgar language in a joking way, which we both laugh at. I still view that as a positive way, especially if you're both laughing at it. But each time he asks
Hang on,
me...
no, I am going to pause. So how is that...
Is this what this feels like?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
I feel like a teleprompter that just got paused. I love it. That's so funny.
Well, that's what I tell myself in my brain.
Yeah.
Okay, pause. I'm so sorry if that came out shitty.
It's funny. I do that shit to you all the time. It's the first time you've done it to me. Because in the beginning, we would take turns.
Yeah.
That was so long ago. What were you going to say?
Okay, so the other 10% is him using more vulgar language in a joking way, which we both laugh about. So if it's in a joking manner and you still understand that it's coming from respect, I agree, how is that not respect? Like, does it bother you in a way and you're just accepting it because that's how he is? And you laugh about it to avoid confrontation?
Yeah. I mean, that could be the 10%.
Like, is that why it was said that way?
Maybe.
Okay, you can continue, Ben.
But each time he asks me, I completely freeze. No words come out of my mouth. I can barely mumble or shake my head to give an answer. I just completely freeze up until the conversation moves away. I know this comes from getting interrogated over and over again during the case against my ex who raped me. I'm going to pause there for a second. This means that you have not dealt with your past trauma and your current man is dealing with the fallout from that. This is the baggage that you're bringing into your relationship and it's hindering more than just you.
Right. And if you don't know how to handle this, he doesn't know how to handle this. And I would highly recommend seeking out a therapist.
Yes. Yep. Also, just so you guys know, if any of you want to do therapy and you go to BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/tobebetter, you can do online therapy. It'll save you 10%. We make nothing off of telling you that. We literally got a coupon code because some of you motherfuckers need therapy.
Yes. That's not a bad thing.
It's not.
Hurry up and go get it.
The Home Depot of mental health. You go get your tools. I know this may seem like a small issue to some, but one of the things that I've learned from you guys is that the sex life is important. It's part of that intimacy that is needed to have a healthy and happy relationship. The person I'm seeing really strives for reassurance and confirmation. I'm able to reassure him on everything else, but not when we talk about sex. And I know it's to stem from...
And I know it's the stem to a lot of his insecurities.
To a lot of his insecurities. I want to be able to fulfill this part for him, but I physically cannot move sometimes when he asks me. Do you guys have any advice on what I can try, what to do next, or even a podcast episode that I should skip over to read?
So therapy.
I agree.
Definitely therapy. And you're not going to like this. It's going to make you uncomfortable. And this is how I got through it. It's an ugly process. It's not fun. You just have to do it. Yep. You have to have the conversations. And if it becomes too overwhelming, say, okay, that was too much for me. Take a 30-minute break, reevaluate, see if you can keep going. I'm at a point in my life now where I will do things that make me extremely uncomfortable, even when it pushes me to cry.
It's growth.
Right. I know what my comfort level is. I am not willing to do anything beyond my comfort level. If my husband said, get on a motorcycle and ride it down a staircase, I am absolutely not doing that.
That's smart.
I can ride the motorcycle or I can run down the staircase, but that's where my limits are.
Yeah.
So I would start evaluating where your comfort zone is. Do you just not like talking about it, or is it making you relive the experience? Because those are two separate things.
It's the interrogation thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so real quick before I get on that, I want to thank Heather because I saw that you posted that BetterHelp link in both YouTube and Twitch. And that's not something we've ever asked you to do. So thank you very much for taking the initiative there. I really appreciate that. What I would suggest in this situation is to not wait until there's an interrogation. Volunteer the information.
Right. If you're feeling okay in the moment,
Proactive instead of reactive.
just say it.
Yep. I really like that,
Yes.
especially in the moment.
Yeah.
All right. Update number 1. So the night I intended to bring everything up, we were watching a movie after getting our food. I ended up getting really comfortable.
Baked.
Broccoli. My tolerance has fallen in the past week. You need to eat more vegetables. And the sleepiness hit me super hard. I didn't feel like it was an appropriate time to bring it up. I was willing to wait for the next time he and I hung out to bring it up. The next day ended up being pretty traumatic to me. If you're curious, here is the news article about it.
I'm going to pause.
Okay.
I don't care how exhausted I am. If I feel like I have something important to tell you, I'm going to tell you it. And then we can carry on the conversation in the morning. This is the exact reason I do not wait for things.
Okay. Can I add to that?
Yes.
I appreciate that you don't wait. And here's why. If you and I are out to dinner and I say something stupid, which happens quite a bit, and it bothers you, which doesn't happen quite a bit, right? Okay.
You'll say something stupid and I'll be like, oh.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh.
Yeah. Let's rewind.
Yeah.
But let's say that it actually triggers something in you and you're feeling a certain way and we have a really good dinner and we have a good ride home and we have a movie on the couch and then we go to bed. I'm waking up tomorrow on cloud 9. We had an amazing date night, great ride home, great date night afterwards, and you're dwelling on some shit you wanted to talk about that happened at the dinner table. I've been living the last 12 hours in a disillusion because you've been holding on to something that I was unaware of. So the last 12 hours of our life is not my reality anymore. So knowing that there's something that needs to be brought up, I believe it needs to happen immediately. And sometimes it's a text message. Can we step away so that we can have a quick conversation? Because now I can make a mental note. Like I in the moment, it's not going to be like I didn't say that because it literally just happened. You're
Right.
bringing it to me when it's very fresh and we can have a quick discussion instead of, hey, 2 months ago, you were opening my car door and said something really stupid and this is what it was. And I've been dwelling on it since then. Like, I don't remember that because it was, yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to skip this entire paragraph and just say that her dad was a felon and did not keep his illegal activities away from her when she was 7. So there's obviously childhood trauma there. From the drive
Before you continue on to that, I want this is exactly how it feels.
Hey, I don't care.
Okay. So an example that will forever live in my mind, we had a full day of podcasting. We drove out of the city for it. We were interviewing people. And something happened, and I texted you about it. And we had a conversation behind the scenes. Is everything okay?
Yep.
We had a conversation behind the scenes, texting. My day was fucking ruined. I was over all of it. I was ready to set the Airbnb on fire and curb stomp somebody. Like, I was done. And I held it in pretty well, I think. You couldn't tell that I wanted to commit arson and a murder. So we had our back and forth. Everybody left. It was like 4 or 5 hours later when we were interviewing the last couple. And we got into the topic of conversation and I boiled over. And they were like, oh my God, we had no idea you guys had a conversation today. We had no idea that you were upset. We had no idea you guys got it back and forth. And like,
That's emotional regulation.
right. But that
I
was,
remember that day.
that was addressing it in the moment. Oh, I was ready.
I know you were.
I keep my crazy locked up so I don't lose my man.
Is that a song or are you just singing?
I'm just
Like
making
sing?
that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You good?
Yeah.
All right. From the drive to Five Guys, then parking at a sightseeing area, then our usual hangout spot, we ended up talking about my whole next relationship expectations document I started typing out since I started listening to you guys. Note 1, which will be growing. Episode 11, Chris mentioned that it should have 15 to 20 things, and I have a long way to reach that number. Side note number 2, this talk spanned over many hours as someone with ADHD. and the other in testing for ADD. We have someone with, we have a lot of did you see that where moments, whoops, hee. He told me that he was actually proud of me for starting this list. Good.
Bravo.
He was proud to see that I am taking this healing journey seriously, and was also proud of the fact that I am setting boundaries. Great time for this email, to make sure I wouldn't let another man hurt me in the same way my ex-husband did. We talked through each bullet point thoroughly, and we set a plan to slowly implement each bullet point. The reason I said a list of 15 to 20 things, because when you come up with that many things, you really fucking know what you're looking for in a person.
Right. And it shows that you've put thought into this.
Right. Taking that list of 15 to 20 things and narrowing it down to 5 or 10, you can then go, okay, these are my absolute non-negotiables. Top 7 things that I will not change on, will not budge. This has to be, period. 7 to 13 could be, these are discussion topics. These are things I would like to see, but don't have to be. But when you've written that list of 15 to 20 things, then you can start prioritizing and moving the list around. And I think that it matters. But I also think that there's a power in journaling and making lists. So anything on before I go?
No.
All right. Traditional gender roles. He's already very helpful when it comes to finances, pays for all of our meals together, loves to randomly send me money if I remotely mention me getting food with friends. I still made sure to read this out to him. I am open to being submissive and a caring partner if I can feel comfortable with my partner leading and protecting me. The next day I noticed he kept me on his arm more often walking around at Target. And even though he bought me pepper spray for moments where I am in public and he is not with me, and even bought me. That following Friday, I was running a little thin on money due to my dog having an emergency vet appointment, and he helped me with gas money until my next paycheck. The real move would have been meeting you at the gas station to fill your pump. Come on. Here we go. Check-ins and report cards. We ended up saving this for another implementation checkpoint. Constant date nights. We have set Thursday night as our weekly date night, even with all of his set on Wednesday, seeing each other Tuesday as well. He was willing to commit the next day, a Thursday, to see me again and spend time together. We ended up watching 2 movies. We have a Korean barbecue this Thursday because I caught a craving on Saturday night.
Hell yeah.
No negative jokes. He was never someone. This is her bullet points.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't recognize that?
I didn't realize that was happening. To make these jokes, I am, LOL, quote from the document, I am guilty of this, so this is mainly for me, just like Chris. I am always making negative comments about myself. I have gotten way fucking better at that.
Yeah.
Rephrase that. I am always making negative comments about myself, my life, my situation. It's a coping mechanism. It's actually deeper than that. The amount of jokes I made when I was filing my divorce papers was definitely not healthy. I asked him to help keep me accountable if I slip on this. He agreed, as well as keeping himself accountable to not start making those jokes. I'm going to touch on that, and then if you guys, we can do that. Otherwise, we'll keep going. When you do that, you are setting a standard in yourself of what you are allowing other people to believe about you. And if other people hear you going, "You're such a dumbass," eventually they're going to go, "Yeah, dumbass." Then what? Right? Like, you are planting that seed in other people because they hear you doing it to yourself. Do not fucking do that. When I read that and I was like, oh my God, like I have been giving people permission to treat me the way that I feel about myself.
Yeah. It's definitely a open gate.
Yeah.
To come in and join the shitting party. I also view that as people will start to see you for what you say you are.
Absolutely. And that could also hinder you. It could actually hurt them if that's the case. You guys got to be wary of people's actions more than their words. Moving on, prenuptial agreement not needed right now, but he knows to expect it when the time comes. Both parties must be confident in defending each other, both while around each other and when one party isn't present. We are both already very strong at this point. As a model on IG, I have guys hitting on me all the time. If men DM me, I try to hit me with, "I can treat you better than him." I come back with, "Doubt it. Sorry, man. He already saw that you said that too. Bye."
So I'm going to pause it. That was a shameless plug.
It was, and that's why I didn't read it.
Right, so we're not going to read that. And secondly, I think responding is feeding into the attention that men is giving you. I would turn off all messaging requests.
I don't think that you can do that. Oh, yes, you can if it's a business page.
Right.
You absolutely can on Instagram if it's business.
Right. Or ignore those DMs. I don't see the purpose in interacting.
Yeah. We very rarely will actually respond to a DM.
Yeah.
I will respond if people are being scammed sometimes, because we've made videos and made it very clear that we don't ask people for money for readings and all that shit. So like we got one of the people I responded to, it read as they were accusing us of being the people who did it. And I got real fucking offensive and like, listen here,
Right.
go look at the first video on our pages. Da, 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 da. And they're like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm letting you know that it happened. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
I will respond to veterans because we get messages from people who are like, I almost eliminated myself last night and I found your podcast. Thank you for doing that. I will reach out and be like, hey, if you really want to talk, like I have a group for men, da 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 da. But for the most part, 99.9% of the time, we're not answering any DMs from anyone. If you want to talk to us, you fucking email the podcast. But there are very, very extreme circumstances where I will make the point to acknowledge something that's going on. If it was this situation, though, I would never, ever, ever acknowledge that. I think that's that house company trying to get us to sell our house again. All right. He already saw that you said that too. Bye. He had a coworker who had a crush on him. She started talking bad about me and he would get upset. And would get upset with him every time he mentioned my name. He told her she's in myself, whether you like it or not. In my life, whether you like it or not.
I have no idea.
You're not going to be the one to change that. They're not as close anymore, but they are coworkers nonetheless. So it's civil at least. You can, civil's the correct term there. Accountability, no discussion was needed. We looked at each other and agreed. Since this talk, everything has been seamless. I've already mentioned the things he has implemented since the talk, and it's been less than a week, although this didn't hit the initial issue I brought up. All of this change has made everything feel a lot safer, which is actually what you need. I felt so much safer than that I was able to initiate the next intimate moment we had this past Friday. This has not happened in years. My marriage was long distance, and so not initiating intimacy was not needed often. And when those times the distance was closed, my partner was always the one to initiate. Do you think initiating intimacy is the physical act? What does it look like? What is it? If I'm initiating intimacy with you, what does it look like? Crickets.
Okay, well, what kind of, you mean like sexual intimacy?
Sure. It's not really what I wanted, but now I'm curious.
So there is certainly like a little fucking peacock dance, I expect. When you're trying to wrestle my jimmies. So, yeah. Okay.
That's so funny. What I was asking you is the intimacy starts in the morning.
Yeah.
It doesn't start 5 minutes before we lay down.
Right. Okay, yeah.
So like leading intimacy could be, I ordered you chocolates last week. I know they're going to be here on Tuesday. And if that's the case, Tuesday morning, I'm going to leave you a note. Start being a little extra.
Right.
Because I want to build anticipation going into the night. And then when the chocolate gets there, I'm fucking king shit.
Yeah.
Right? So like what I was getting at is that intimacy, I guess is what I'm getting at, is that intimacy doesn't have to be a right now. It needs to be a prolonged process so that there is an anticipation built up.
Right.
And it doesn't look sexual. So rustle my jimmies. You fucking made peacock sounds.
I did.
Did I tell you that our daughter was doing that fan thing and she came out balking like a chicken?
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm a peacock. And I was like, peacocks don't balk. That's chicken. I was like, do you know the sound a peacock makes? And she was like, no. And I was like, I think they honk. And I had to pull up on YouTube the thing, and sure enough, it honked. And as soon as you walked out of the bedroom, she fucking honked at you. And I was like, that was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
That's so funny. I'm sorry for the really long email. As I was typing, I could hear you guys' voice in my head being like, wait, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, it's because I don't have all the context. And this has prompted me to type more and more details. Although this email is long, I wanted to be another person to show you both the work that you guys put in has an impact. I've been an avid listener since the second of the month. You guys are my favorite thing to listen to during work and when work is slow, long drives or traffic. This is a good time to listen to Be Better and get an episode in. I've typed out several notes. This email was to show that I'm putting those notes into reality. This has helped me more than any adult therapy session I've ever had.
Bravo.
That is such a fucking cool thing to hear.
Isn't that a compliment?
It is. And it's even better when it's in person.
Yeah.
Because we get it every time we meet people. And it takes it away from, oh my God, you're the TikTok famous people, to, you guys really fucking impacted my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. So huge. Moving on to the second update, because that was just a thank you. Well, this update came in a lot sooner than I thought, but I told Heather that I would be implementing check-ins and the courting questions soon. Oh, this is a courting questionnaire update. Not only did I start that, but I feel like I made some big steps last night that I would love to tell you guys about. So this weekend, my boyfriend and I are having a trip to a festival with some friends of his / coworkers. Originally, the plan was for me and my two friends, him and his two coworkers. I skipped an entire sentence there. My two friends couldn't go anymore due to a wedding invitation. One of my boyfriend's coworkers invited two more of their coworkers. One of those coworkers has a history with my boyfriend. She's one of the people my boyfriend flirted with when my boyfriend and I weren't together. From what I've known about her, she really doesn't like me. Why is she coming on the trip? Because people cannot be in a relationship and still be cool with each other. I wish I could answer that question. You guys weren't together. She shot her shot. He shut her down.
No, he flirted with her.
Oh, he flirted with her and she shot him down.
We don't know. They flirted.
Okay. But nothing came of it. They weren't together.
Right.
And you guys are together now. So do you ever go, hey, I wonder if like I missed that opportunity, instead of going, I really dodged a fucking bullet there. Right? Because if we would have been talking to somebody else, right, and that had worked out, this would not have.
Right.
So this has worked out for them. That flirting shit didn't.
Right.
That's a dodged bullet moment. Like, you guys are in the good right now. I wouldn't focus on that shit. Would you? Is this something that would eat at you? Do I need to be aware of this?
It wouldn't eat at me, but I would pay attention to her.
Okay.
I would pay attention
That's
to
fair.
your guys' interactions. I'd be hyper vigilant.
That's fair.
I would keep my crazy on a leash. She's there, but she's kind of in the background right now.
Would you overact with me? Over interact? Like, would you
No.
establish dominance?
I think my presence enough is establishing dominance.
Okay. I just had this whole thing in my head. Because they're at like a festival. So like there's people sitting around a campfire, and I could see you standing there, and like she look over and you sit in my lap and be like, no eye contact, bitch. No.
You want to know where my mind went? I would make it a point, like,
Oh, fuck.
you want to know where my crazy would go?
Sure.
My crazy would go, I would pee on your leg while making eye contact with her.
That's funny.
But no, I wouldn't go above and beyond. I would interact with you the way that I interact with you. I make you happy.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
She'll see that shit. I think if I were to go above and beyond and being lovey with you, that's a red flag.
Yeah. That would show that you were insecure in a moment.
Right. That's an overcompensation.
That's a very good point. She said, I've known about her. She doesn't really like me. Why is she coming to the trip? I wish I could answer that question. This has caused me a lot of anxiety since knowing she would be going. The trip is this weekend, leaving Thursday morning. I've been planning this trip since January. Friends told me they couldn't go early February. I found out she was going earlier this month. Being an official couple has helped calm a lot of the anxiety, but there's still some residual anxiety floating around in my brain.
Wait, pause. Being an official couple has calmed down a lot of my anxiety. How long have they been together for?
Didn't say.
Have you guys been dating for like 3 months? I need...
I'll scroll back up. How
Thank
about
you,
that?
babe. I don't see a time frame.
I don't either.
Oh, curiosity is going to kill this cat.
Damn, we're really down here.
Yes.
All right. I decided to message my boyfriend last night if we could talk about relationship stuff. Put the girl mentioned on the back burner. She'll be brought up later. He picked me up, but I noticed that he was really stressed out. He had a rough day at work with no breaks. His whole job was hindered all day due to machines not working right. Too many people being out. He was working 2 processes that would take 2 to 4 people all by himself. I asked him if he had time to properly decompress after work. Good woman. Good fucking woman. He said that he tried, but he is still stressing out. We sat down and I just let him out his emotions about the day. What was going through his brain, let him just sit there and breathe and process. I love everything about that. That speaks to emotional maturity. You
Yes,
were
it
able to
does.
put your shit on the back burner to let him fucking get it out, and then you guys can have an intelligent conversation. I let him get it out for about an hour and a half while pushing myself to give him his love language. Physical touch is my last ranking love language while it's his first. I started with just holding his hand. I pushed myself further and adjusted my position so that I would rest my head on his chest, stomach area while he just breathed. After a few moments of silence, I gently got his attention so that I could give him his second love language, my first, words of affirmation. I told him that I appreciate him for pushing through work and making it through the shift. Before I move on, let me highlight this so I can find my space again. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the love languages, Peaches did a 6-session book breakdown on YouTube.
Did I? Was it 6?
It was 6. We did the intro and then the 5 love languages.
Okay.
It might be 7. I think we might have done a follow-up video too.
I don't know.
6 or 7.
So long ago.
Yeah, but it is a playlist on our YouTube channel if you guys would like to watch that. She actually broke down what they are and we gave examples, and she did a whole lot of work for that. So you should watch it.
Oh, thank you. I did.
I told him I was proud of him for not exploding on his 50th inconvenience of the shift. I told him that I appreciate him going to work 12 hours a day, 3 to 4 times a week, because it allowed us to do what we do together. It allows him to have all of this money to pay for our trips, pay for our dates, pay for all the things that he has given me. Those things make him happy, and that alone makes me happy. I reminded him that the hard work he's putting in is the big reason that we are able to have the trip coming this weekend. Just like Chris said, he broke down crying after hearing that from me. I let him digest, got him tissues to clean himself up. Then we had our 1-minute hug. That 1-minute hug is powerful. Guys are not used to having that gratitude.
Right.
We are so used to just knowing that we have to provide. We have to protect. Provision always doesn't look like money, but that is a part of it. And we have a role that we're supposed to do. And because that is what is expected of us, we believe we're supposed to just do that shit. And we are not used to having women give gratitude for that. So when it happens the first time, we don't have to fucking take it. It is huge. It's huge. I reminded him that the hard work he's putting is big. Okay, I read that. I let him digest tissues, read that. After some more minutes of breathing, he went back to ranting about all the things stressing him out. I could tell that he was talking more logically as to emotional. So I took a moment to help him process some of those frustrating thoughts in his brain. Example, his backpack for work is getting old and torn up. I offered to give him a backpack from my job that has been sitting on my desk for almost 2 weeks. He was stressed about what to wear for the festival, and he didn't have time to buy a new outfit. Excuse me. I helped him think out what outfits he currently has and see if he would be willing to reuse any outfits. I told him that I only got one new outfit while reusing an old outfit for day 2. He remembered that he bought a new t-shirt from a recent car event we went to and could use that. He was conflicted about the camping trip that was planned. While I was giving him time to decompress for work, I told him to put up his phone when it was originally blowing up and that we could get back to it after he had proper decompression. That's smart. I helped him organize his schedule, evaluate if we, this really speaks on teamwork. This is what this is supposed to look like. Mm-hmm. I helped him organize his schedule, evaluate if he would have the monetary and mental resources to do this trip, and made sure that he would be okay missing certain car shows I would be working for. He concluded on going on this trip, and I made note in my notebook to remind him to just put his PTO request in the next morning. He just texted me, "Good morning. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you for the reminder, baby, 2 minutes ago." After all of this, he said that he was ready to talk about what I wanted to talk about. I let him know that I was okay with pushing this talk until later in the week during the trip, since we have a 6 to 7 hour drive to our Airbnb. He said he'd like to get the conversation started now and is willing to continue during the drive, so that's what we did. That drive time is huge. I fucking love having conversations with you when we're driving because neither one of us are on our phone. Mm-hmm. We're not checking emails. We're not dealing with the podcast. We're not dealing with the Death Star. Like, there's nothing. It's just the road in silence. Unless we're listening to an audiobook, then we pause and discuss. With everything, the average person has more than 20 screens in front of them throughout the day. When you think about your phone, your watch, your computer screen, your laptop,
Tablets.
iPad, televisions in every room of the fucking house, the dash in your car, screen. And when you're driving, you can't focus on those screens. When you've got somebody in the car with you, you can stop and have those conversations. It's the shit.
Yeah.
I saw something the other day that said big displays like I have in the truck is being banned in the EU, and that they're not going to allow big tablets like that because it's a distraction while driving.
Wow.
Yep. I don't know how true that is, but
Right.
that's what I read. I started to ask him courting questions. We didn't go in order due to time restraints, so I picked the ones that would immediately be relevant and answered first. I brought up the difference between dating and courting. He actually thought that dating was more formal. I told him that I saw dating as still getting to know the other person enough before making the commitment to marry. I saw courting was being confident with wanting a future with that other person and putting in the effort to really build a strong foundation for the future. Courting has more intention and commitment to marriage than dating does. He agreed, and his intentions lie closer to my definition of courting than dating. So I got into the courting questions, and I asked question 4, if this goes further, are you willing to stop seeing other people while we figure out what we are doing? And it was an easy yes from the both of us, since we were each other's only other person this whole year so far. So they've been a year. I moved into question 5. What are your hard no's? He said, well, obviously no cheating. And I pumped the brakes and started making clear lines as to what counts as cheating.
I love that.
Okay, well, clearly no sex. Pump the brakes again to go even deeper on that topic. I love this. We agreed to physically sexual advances to anyone else. I picked his brain about corn and online services, OnlyFans, etc. I don't want corn, nor do I participate in 18 plus content creation, so I asked questions to let him have the mic. At first, he said he was okay watching corn. I brought up the study that Peaches said that corn addiction can actually affect brain's neurochemical reactions. Natural. Close enough. And brought up I skim read. I don't actually.
I know.
Okay. And brought up the opinions of people who were okay with corn as well as not okay with corn. He then changed his opinion to no corn. I brought up online services like OnlyFans and if this was allowed or not. Context, in our first relationship, I lost my job and got desperate for funds and thought about doing OnlyFans until I got another full-time job. He said no, called those girls on those websites a name, and a few days later, I found out that he had multiple subscriptions to girls on OnlyFans. Well, there you go. What the fuck? While some girls were new back from college days, this incident was one of the biggest trust-breaking incidents in our first relationship. So they were together before?
I have no idea.
I'm kind of lost now. Okay. As soon as I mentioned this, he said no. He recognized the pain that it caused me previously. He said that he had never gone back to those websites since the day I caught him. And so he is fine setting this solid boundary.
So I guess this is the second time they've been together?
It's what it sounds like.
Okay.
So this speaks to growth too, right? Like if you guys are together and you take a break and things don't work out and you go about your lives and you come back and you've both grown, things could work. We moved into intimate gestures and discussing relationship issues to people of the opposite sex. We both agreed that 95% of the time it is not okay. I personally have exceptions that he is allowing. My close girlfriends are allowed to hold my hand, cuddle with me, cheek kisses, etc. And I have 4 specific men that I am allowed to go to for relationship advice. These 4 men are either married with families or have been courting for 5+ years, and I'm very close to all the girlfriends' wives. They are all my older siblings, in quotations. I hate that phrase so fucking much, unless they're actually your siblings.
Yeah, I view that he's my older brother, she's my younger sister, akin to work wife, work husband.
I absolutely do.
Yeah.
There's already a distrust being formed in my brain when I hear that shit.
Yeah.
And I genuinely admire all of their relationships and see them as an educational resource like you guys. But we also agreed that this is a no questions asked situation. If the other person says no, I'm wording that wrong, but let me explain. For me, I have another guy friend who I honestly have a platonic friendship with. He is the reason I believe in platonic soulmates. He leans on me when a bunch of us are hanging out at someone's house party. We both agree that we were meant to be good friends, but never a couple because our end goals are just so different. My boyfriend, regardless, is not okay with him having intimate gestures with me, but we can still be friends. Of course he has an issue with him having intimate gestures with you. Why wouldn't he? You got something to say, babe? Say it. I'll wait. Because you also took a deep breath.
The platonic soulmates is what's catching me.
Yeah.
That sounds like a friend zone situation.
Okay. Now, I need you to explain friend zone because
Like, he wants more, recognizes it's never going to happen, wants to keep her in his life, and is willing to go along with whatever she says.
right. I view that as in case of an emergency, break glass.
Yeah,
I don't like that shit.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay. Hang on. I also want to touch on the soulmates phrasing. So soulmates is reserved for people who are getting married or people who are in love. I think taking that soulmates and, well, it's a platonic soulmate. No, we use a different word.
Yeah. Do you think that soul bonded people would be a better term? Because
Yes.
you could be brother and sister in a past life if you believe in that, right? I guess.
Right.
Is that better for you?
I think a soul bonded. Yeah, because
Okay.
when I hear soulmates, I think of
Lovers. Yeah.
people who are engaging in sexual acts together and want to live a life together. And yeah, okay.
Yeah, I agree with all that. We both agree that we are meant. Okay, read that. I was actually the one who mentioned him as a non-exception to make sure that I was reading this boundary correctly on his end. He agreed, reach into the back burner. I mentioned his coworker. He agreed to have her as a non-exception person as well. We also agreed that if one person feels like the other needs to cut them off 100%, that goes beyond no questions asked. And we are having a conversation about it as of right now. I moved this and just lost my line. We agree that no one is on the no contact list. I assume my soon-to-be ex-husband will reach that list soon when the divorce is set in stone. But we agreed to revisit that topic when the day comes. I'm talking to him as minimally as possible and only related to the papers relating to our summary dissolution. I did not mention the girl who is joining the trip because they're coworkers on a production line, so they do need to communicate for the sake of their career. Maybe if either of them got a new job, I will mention moving her to that list. He said we went through a lot and would like to take the rest of the night to relax before going home to sleep for work. We agreed to continue the conversation during our trip drive. We watched memes and videos for 15 minutes, drove around our city for 15, and then went home. This is this really falls into setting the boundaries. You guys are really laying out those expectations, and I don't give a fuck if we agree or if anybody in the chat agrees or if anybody has issues with what's going on. This is their relationship. They're laying out what is and is not acceptable, and this is working for them. This is exactly the point of what we've talked about for the last 2 years.
Right, I agree.
I fucking love this.
Yeah.
I want to drive this point. I have been dating people since middle school. This was my first time having this type of conversation with my partner in my whole life.
And it went beautifully from the way you wrote it out.
Absolutely. I never knew how to have the conversation. I never knew the best way to navigate through this type of conversation. I never let myself set boundaries in any aspect of my life. None of this could have happened without To Be Better. You guys have a Google document with the questions I used for this conversation. My talks with the Discord made me realize the importance of these things. The podcast helped me learn how to love during hard conversations. That's fucking huge. Were you about to say something?
No.
I just didn't want to interrupt and you'd be like, pause. I'm like, the podcast helped me learn how to love during hard conversations. I plan to continue and hopefully finish the courting questions during the drive. I am open to doing our first check-in before and or after our trip. So expect that update email soon. We have like a page and a half left. More personal notes to the two of you, Peaches. You are doing amazing. I've never seen a woman so open, transparent, and genuine. All the knowledge that you have is just so aspiring. You are almost perfect. You are almost a perfect image of the woman I want to be.
Oh, that's a lot to hear.
It is a lot. That's a lot. It's a hell of a compliment.
Right. Holy shit.
I will be taking a lot of aspects that you implement into your own life and see how I can further my own journey to be the woman I want to be. I am not you. You are not me. So the end image of who we want to be may honestly be completely different. But the side you choose to show on the podcast have been a lot of things I want to have for myself. I promise you that anyone who has ever met her can guarantee you that this is who she is. And anybody that has been to one of our meet and greets, I fucking dare you to say otherwise. Because everyone else in the meet and greet will totally call you out on that shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we'll be doing a meet and greet in Tennessee in the end of the month for those of you who are on Patreon. For the Wizards, if you're in the chat, can one of you create a thread for that so that we can get that going? The emotional control and organization you have, the loving and caring wife that you are, I've never understood how to reach that level until you. I don't aim to be a mother to a human child, but you definitely taught me how to be the best big sister who needs to step in due to an absent father, and how to love my brother and to serve his example and guardian. Chris, you have helped me understand the male brain and how that thing works. How you guys think, how you approach things. You expose me to how my boyfriend could perceive something and what would help you both understand, or how something could make you both feel loved as a man and in a blue collar job. It feels like you are constantly calling me out on the podcast, but it's needed so that I can realize my shortcomings, so that I can realize I'm having a dip in my accountability. I am forever grateful for the both of you and to the content and information you choose to share on the internet for free. I will continue to support you both to show how you guys have supported me and my growth. I hope that one day I can pay you both back for the newfound peace I am creating in my relationship, and I will catch you both on the next live.
That was beautiful.
That was a really good fucking email.
That was a really good email.
Abby said my dad's gathering got canceled, so I will likely be there. That's good.
Ooh.
You'll be in Tennessee. Please say Nashville. We will be in Eastern Tennessee.
And we don't know where yet.
The location has not been confirmed. We will be staying in Blue Ridge, Georgia. So if you see a giant Mercedes Sprinter van with To Be Better on it, make sure that you fucking honk and stop and talk to us, because we love that shit.
We do.
All right, let's scroll up just a little bit. Oh wait, we have super chats. Let's see if the Discord will open on this window. You think it will?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Look at that.
All right, so now I have to find the super chats channel. We can read some super chats. That's not it. Hopefully they were grabbed.
Do you want to know how I can tell that I'm really working on my vocabulary and I'm evolving?
Yes.
So instead of saying, did something just happen? I said, did something transpire? Look at me being elegant, bitches.
That's funny. Oh no, the super chats don't look like they were grabbed. Or I'm fucking blind.
Screenshots for receipts. You got to mention somewhere.
Yeah, I'm looking. This we need a break screen.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. The ball pit. No.
Nope.
Oh, there's another mention. There they are.
It is. All right.
Yep.
Get there at some point.
Yeah, you guys are fucking on it. You guys are everything. If it wasn't for the moderators of our Discord channel, I would be so fucking lost, dude. Oh no, it's so tiny.
It is so fucking tiny.
Oh, it's still tiny. Can I open it in a browser? There we go.
All right.
Ha! Look at that. So stupid. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
There we go.
All right.
Do your thing, woman.
Well, we already answered that one.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
From Sunny Days. I really just want to thank you guys. I'm 23, 8 months out of a toxic 6-year relationship. Y'all taught me how to set healthy boundaries and to communicate.
Love that.
Bravo.
All right. Let's close that one. Go back to Discord. This is a whole process with no computer.
Yes, it is.
Open in browser.
All right. From Alaska Ellie. Oh, wait. Ramajam. Early access. Welcome. From Alaska Ellie. Sending extra love. I appreciate how much y'all have changed to help me grow. Challenged me to grow.
Challenged me. This means that this is her fifth time sending a super chat.
Oh my gosh, thank you for your 5th super chat. Naomi Gutierrez, my partner set as a boundary that I convert to his religion so that we can raise our kids with the same beliefs. Any thoughts on this?
That is not a boundary. That is a request.
That is a request.
So, okay, so let's talk about that. How would that conversation have to be? Okay, so back on the boundary conversation. In order for that to be a boundary, the conversation would be, when we have kids, I want my children raised in my faith. And the woman that he is courting could say, well, I don't share your faith and I don't want my children to be raised with faith, so we're not going to do this.
Right.
That's where the boundary gets set. Now that you are going to be having kids, You can't force somebody to adapt or adopt a religion. That is a personal choice.
Right. That's also against religion or faith. I mean, I guess depending on who you're following.
Yeah. I don't agree that that's a boundary.
I agree with that.
I think that is a conversation that should have been had before you guys got pregnant.
Well, she didn't say she was pregnant.
So we can raise our kids.
Right. I mean, maybe they're talking about having children.
Okay. Well, that's true. Have you looked into his faith? Is that something that you guys have discussed? Like that's a lot.
That is a lot. And what does that look like? Are you wanting to celebrate all the holidays? So my mind is going to A Proper Care and Feeding of a Husband by Laura Schlesinger. She talks about a situation specifically where a wife was upset that she agreed to raise the children Jewish and then felt blindsided by the fact that they're not celebrating Christmas.
Right.
And she's like, this is unacceptable. We're not doing this. And she's like, but you agreed to raise the children as Jewish. So I would be asking those kinds of questions. What holidays are we celebrating? What are the morals you're trying to raise the children with? If you're somebody who is not religious, unless that person's religion or faith is about harming others and yourself, good morals is a good thing to have.
Right. And that's what most religions are.
Right.
Do you think that in this situation would be best if she agrees to raise the children in that religion, even if she doesn't have that religion? I think that would be more true to who she is. If she doesn't agree with the religion,
right,
that could be a different conversation. But if she doesn't fault him for having that religion and she doesn't see him as a bad person,
but doesn't want religion herself,
right, then why not just say that's fine. You can teach the kids about religion, and when they're old enough, they can make a decision on whether or not they want to have that faith.
Right. I think that would fall in line to a conversation to have, though, that you can't cram it down their throats that if they don't do this, they're going to go to hell.
Yeah, that's definitely not the conversation.
Right. It needs to be open conversations of, this is what I believe in, this is what I am reading, when children become old enough to comprehend those kinds of conversations, and leave it up to a choice to them.
Yeah.
From Kristen Helland, advice on breaking trauma bonds, specifically with family members.
I am not the one to ask for that, because I will cut somebody out of my life like a fucking cancer.
Yeah, I'm not the one to ask that either, because you know what the problem is at this point, especially if you're family. Like, this isn't just some oblivious secret. We know what the family issues are. Everybody in the family knows what the family issues are.
Yep.
So
it comes down to just setting your boundaries and
I'm quick to cut someone off too.
Having self-worth. I'm not gonna allow something to disrupt my peace.
Right.
I've worked way too fucking hard to get to where I am with my level of happiness that nothing is disrupting that. I will remove every facet of my fucking life to protect my happiness.
Yeah.
So
there's also a lot of deep-seated psychological reasons behind people forming trauma bonds. And those trauma bonds are formed in specific situations. I would seek out therapists on YouTube who talk more into trauma bonds, why they form and how to break them.
yeah,
That would be my response.
I agree with that.
From Jamie, thank you for being a wonderful presence online, Peach. You've been a fantastic mentor to me in my early 20s navigating life. Oh, I'm glad. I hope your life is everything you want it to be, even with the hardships that must be endured.
We still have over 500 people watching.
That's wild.
All right, let's see. Julie Angel said, growing up, I would celebrate both Christian holidays and the Jewish holidays. Because my father being Jewish and my mother being Southern Methodist, my parents strive for me to learn and be open learning about both religions. My mother at one point was concerned with me going to church, and my father was really supportive of my mom taking me and my sister to church. This just comes down to understanding. I also think it's important to remember that religion is man-made constructs.
Right.
The sacraments and all of the things that you see in religion are things
and Holy Marys and
we put that together,
right?
Relationships with your God.
Hail Marys. Hail Marys.
Yeah.
Your relationship with your God.
Yeah. You just derailed my whole shit. Did you say something different than the first time? Because I heard Hail Mary.
I said Holy Marys.
Oh, that's funny.
The whole Catholic church setup really makes me
Yeah.
want to set tables on fire. I'm not even flipping them at this point.
Carrie Ann said the Bible is Aesop's fables just to scare people to be good.
I disagree with that statement.
I'm going to go as far as to say, even if it is, so what? If you read the Bible when you're younger and it teaches you how to be a good human being, honor your parents, love your neighbor,
Water and nurture other humans.
right? Love your wife the way Christ loved the church.
Yeah.
Serve each other. Sounds to me like a really good fucking life to have.
I agree.
She said, please see my above comment. I did. I just read it.
Maybe scroll up a little bit.
I'm a spiritual green witch. My husband is atheist. My son goes to private Catholic. When he gave me solid reasons why he doesn't want the structure and what his curriculum can offer, then he gets to say, okay?
That doesn't change my disagreement with your statement about the Bible.
Yep. Francis said, can I ask a question? You just did.
Peach is not a pyro just today. I'm always a pyro, just under wraps. I love seeing fire consume things and turn it into nothing.
I don't know how these lives work, or is it just a conversation amongst us and you guys? Well, we were reading an email a minute ago, and now we're just dicking around. We have, I don't know, another 20 minutes or so, and we'll wrap it up. Mona said, fear-based choices are never good. I don't fear my God. So my faith doesn't come from fear.
Yeah.
Sadra said, go back to emails, please.
No, we're getting ready to wrap up.
Nope, I'm done with the emails. We did one today.
We'll do another 12-page email today.
Yeah, it was a long one. We'll be doing another one on Sunday when we go live. The maybe we should hang the monkey up and do a third camera angle.
Okay.
Because that would actually help with the sound in here. I have an email ready to send and truly hope you guys get the time to look it over. I need your advice badly. Send it. Make sure that it's very clear, detailed, and there's no trauma dumping.
And we'll go through our screeners first.
Yep. I asked earlier, but what are your thoughts on the difference between a good man and a nice guy? I don't know if you've ever seen the LL Cool J comment where he's like, I'm not a good guy, I'm a nice guy. A good guy would let you talk shit to him. A nice guy would punch you in the fucking mouth for running it. That's the difference. I will try to do the right thing in all situations, but I'm going to do what I believe is the right thing, even if it's wrong to society.
I view it the other way. I view good men that way.
Okay. Well, that was the phrase. I was just repeating what he said.
Oh.
The verbiage could have been backwards, but there's a difference. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't think there are good men.
Yeah.
I think the concept of a good man is somebody who lives a righteous life and does things that he believes in, right? So what is a good man is going to look different to everyone. A good man could be, in a woman's eyes, a stay-at-home dad that's helping raise the kids while she hustles her career. To somebody else, it could be a good old boy who's killing himself every day, working on a farm and has good morals and values. And I think that matters to everyone else. And when you know what you believe in and you live your life by a set of core values, if you are adhering to that, then by your definition, you're a good man. I think that also falls into line of success because everyone's definition of success is different. So, like in the book, As a Man Thinketh, I have no idea what was asked, but I love that book. What happened to your pinky? I can't straighten either one of my pinkies. This is what happens when you punch things and your fingers break and don't heal properly. My right one's really bad.
That's my favorite pinky.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like a good man is supportive and a hand in society. A man that lives in truth is always a great man. See, these are all great definitions, and I don't disagree with any of them. When I die and I'm having somebody at my eulogy standing there talking about the life that I lived, and I want them to say he was a good man, I want them to look at my deeds and the way that I provided for others. That provision could be a shoulder to cry on. It could be help out of a financial situation. It could be just showing up on the night that they needed somebody to talk to. You know what I mean? Like, but everybody is going to have their own definition of what a good man is. So in order for me to be spoken of like that at my funeral,
You need to be it.
I have to be multifaceted in what makes me a good man. Can you demonstrate the difference of dad voice and mad voice? No, I'm not screaming in here.
Oh my gosh.
For those of you who don't know, I am not somebody who likes to raise my voice. I feel that men who have to scream lack emotional maturity, and it's something that took me a lot to regulate. And when I start getting animated or I feel my voice rising and it gets past the point of dad voice, I immediately stop talking. And I will take a breath, and I'm not going to have this conversation any further until I'm able to regulate. I personally view that as a sign of weakness. And because I view it that way and because of what I experienced as a child, I don't do that. Now I will dad voice the kids, dad voice the shit out of them. If they're pouting or throwing a tantrum or something, hey, stand up. Like, I dad voice them, but I don't yell. There is a difference. Can you respond to my comment? I did respond to your comment. You said you were going to ask a question. Did it? I got to find your comment now. I got to scroll up. Chat's moving quick. Okay. You guys are a beautiful couple. I enjoy how raw and authentic your content is, and it is refreshing and healing for me to view. I was in an unhealthy relationship, but after I left due to being so drained, now he is ready to heal and do right. I don't know how to heal or forgive him. Or forgive, regardless of that person making changes now, because when I needed the changes, he wasn't ready. Are you living in the past? Because that's what it sounds like to me. Past doesn't exist anymore. It happened. It's done. If you are not moving forward in your life and you are consistently living in the past, you will never know peace and you will never know happiness. Ever. The future that you're striving for will eventually become the past. So you make the best decisions with what you have right now to get the best future that you can have so that you don't have these kind of things in the future. But you have to determine whether or not that was worth it. I don't think my comments or super chats are going through. Well, I see the comment that you just said that, but I didn't see a super chat. Screaming dad means kid didn't hear mom. Dad voice is good. Screaming creates bad vibes and anxiety. What is Peach's two favorite colors and favorite animal? I'm going to send a handmade animal.
Pink and black. An elephant.
Savannah said, you guys have changed my relationship. Thank you. You changed your relationship. We just had a conversation and you found value in it. So thank you for listening. Emily for $10 said, how do you recover emotionally from almost losing a partner from health issues? I feel like I can't breathe when he gets sick now. You guys start making concerted efforts to be healthy. Stop eating food-like products. Stop indulging in things that do not serve a healthy lifestyle. Start walking, start doing cardio, lifting weights, doing CrossFit, whatever it is that you need to do to start actively taking steps to be healthy, and then start making plans just in case things don't go well. That's my answer to that. Be proactive, not reactive. Do you believe you can fall in love with the same person more than once? Yes, I do. I don't think that my definition of what you're asking is going to be the answer, but yes, I do. I believe that there are different levels of love, and I believe that as you grow, you learn to love differently. I know that the love that we have now is very different than the love that we had when we fell in love. Our love now is very, very different than what it was when we fell in love. Mm-hmm. It's deeper, it's stronger, it has a whole lot more depth to it. There's a lot more understanding now. Now there's an understanding of our flaws, the broken parts of ourselves that we've learned to love in each other. So love morphs and it changes. Now, are you asking, can you be in love with somebody, break up with them, meet them 10 years later and fall in love again? Absolutely. Because who you are at 20 is not who you are at 30. That goes for everyone.
Allie, I brought this specifically for you. It is 155 Savant from Maybelline, the Superstay Matte Ink.
You really fucking brought that just because you knew somebody was going to ask?
I did.
That's funny.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it. Again, 155 Savant from Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink.
That's so funny. All right, babe, do you believe that a moment of weakness can pass and won't happen again if you fix the problem that caused that weakness?
Yes.
I agree. It's no different than lifting weights. You guys got to be able to do the work, though, right? And you have to be able to truly acknowledge it. Let's talk about that for a minute. Do you know how I keep wanting to say intentive you have to be, but that's not the right word. How much you have to live with intention to be able to be completely honest with what's going on in the moment when you have a moment of weakness with your person. And this comes to how they've trained you to respond or react to situations. This is how they have responded or reacted to situations in the past that lets you know whether or not you can have those conversations. And all of that matters. And without all of that, you will never be able to truly have that moment of weakness and be completely honest with your person because you fear the backlash that's going to come from it. There's a strength in that. When you've got that kind of bond with somebody and you can have those conversations like, hey, I'm feeling like I'm splitting right now. Remember that conversation?
Yeah, I was absolutely terrified.
Yeah, but you didn't hesitate.
No.
And we had a really good conversation and there was a whole lot of information that had been there. But had you come to me with a BPD thing in the past and I fucking blew up over it, you would never come to me about it again because you wouldn't feel safe in the moment. Mm-hmm. There's a structure. You guys have to teach that. I love the matte ink. Oh, that's your makeup. I was like, what matte ink? We are 2 hours and 15 minutes into this. You want to wrap it up? I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, we'll be going live again on Sunday. If you have not yet, please go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. We want to hit 200,000 by the end of the year. I would really like to see it by the end of July. We're only 10,000 away. If we can do that, great, because then the goal is 250.
Right.
But we are trying to grow. If you guys would like more content and you're not a part of the Patreon community, you should be.
Thank you guys for being here today. It's crazy. We almost had 1,000 people here.
It's the biggest live that we've had across 3 platforms to date. So with that being said, guys, remember that you are the authors of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.